Hello, folks, and hey, Bear. Welcome to the Nateland Podcast. Today's episode of Nateland Podcast is brought to you by Lectric eBikes, Indeed, Helix Sleep, and Athletic Greens. Welcome, everybody. Nate Bargatze, Brian Bates, Dusty Slay, and filling in for Aaron Weber, the Mike Vechionne.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right.
That's a good attitude. Out of the gate.
I'm pumped up.
Mike Vechionne's got his special is coming out. The Attractives is coming out March 24th. So this week. So this comes out Wednesday, Friday. It comes out Friday, right? Friday on my YouTube. So this is the first. This is it. My I don't know how to say it, but
directorial debut.
My directorial debut.
All right.
Nateland Presents.
And the Nateland Presents and the Nateland World. The first, it all relies on Mike.
I got a sneak peek of the special and loved it. I did not think I'd like your directing, but it was actually impressive. There's a lot more to it than you realize.
Right.
You got to pay for music. You got to pay for laugh tracks. You got to pay for a lot of stuff. So I'm
Laugh
joking.
tracks. Yeah, and they got.
Everybody looked at me like
that was a shot at everybody.
Yeah.
Is there anybody you didn't take a shot at with that one?
Yeah.
Bates.
Well, I am serious about it. It looks really good. It's really funny. I was there that night, but
My wife went to the taping too. She loved it.
All the Attractives were there.
She's not, an easy comedy fan,
right?
Either. She loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome, and I'm excited for everybody to see it. And it's starting. We got yours, and then Greg Warren's, and then Joe Zimmerman's, and we got some other stuff we're working on with stand up. But I mean, I think we're going to build this out into. I'm hoping to do all these specials, and people can watch them, and and it's basically TV clean, like old TV clean. Because I try to think of what I'm trying to, it's like my comedy is like it's like family friendly,
right?
But it's not like it's it's like the old TV clean, like the way it was when we came up.
Right.
We did specials like you had to be clean.
I like to say my comedy is like the edgy guy at church kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Where you're like, it's still okay, but you're saying things that other people wouldn't say.
Yeah.
Well, we went to different churches then. You would not be accepted at my church. Dustin.
Yeah.
That's true.
You're the guy that goes to church, but you stay out in your truck the whole service. But you're there. You drop your kid off, and you pick your kid up, and you encourage them to go, but you don't walk in. And one day you will walk in.
Yeah, one day I'll clean it up and make my way in there.
Yeah.
But even like a Steve Harvey on Family Feud type of thing, where it's a little edgy, but you can still do it on TV.
You can still do it on TV. Yeah, that's what we're going for. So everybody comes out this Friday. I want to say 5 p.m. Central. Or
5 p.m.
Like
I think it is. Yeah.
5 p.m. Central.
Central time.
Central time. So 6 Eastern. Set your clocks accordingly. Subscribe to the YouTube page. We're excited. And Aaron's not here. He did not want Mike to have a special. So
it was a slap in the face.
Yeah,
Aaron thought.
He's protesting.
And he refused to come.
Yeah, so that's understandable. And then I'm back. Got my hat. I sold out London. I sold out the London show.
How about that?
I got the hat, and I sold out Amsterdam. And they gave me that. Yeah, pretty fun. And the other shows where we had Dublin was close, and then Oslo and Brussels they were both solid. Like it's all like it's funny to go. You go play these, some of these events, like London was like 1,000 people. That was like probably 800 or something like that. And then Dublin was probably like 700 or something like that, I think. And then it was like 300 maybe or 200. Like it's crazy to like, you're just over there. It's crazy that anybody even shows up at all.
Yeah.
Do you think people had to wait it out in Amsterdam? Like go see Nate, tickets to the Anne Frank house, Nate, Anne Frank
They had
house.
to decide. Well, I'm at night.
They really had to decide.
I'm at night though.
Oh, okay.
So that, we went to the Anne Frank house.
How was it? Fun?
Yeah. We went to all your spots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Yeah, it was like, Harper is like
Fun
learning
doesn't
about
seem like
fun.
the
Doesn't
word.
seem
Fun
the word.
does not seem like the great. I was gonna actually say that.
Yeah, it'd be like inappropriate to get engaged at.
Yeah.
Brian did. Brian got down on one knee right before they went behind the bookcase.
Yeah.
He goes, "Do you mind if we do something out here before we go in?" He was at least respectful not to do it behind the bookcase.
Yeah.
But it was fun because Harper's learning about Anne Frank, and they were learning about Anne Frank like up to like she was leaving to go to the Anne Frank house. So it was fun to go to it, or fun, but it was crazy. It's powerful. It's all and then also to go with her. She knew a lot about her. She got a book and the Anne Frank diaries.
I told Harper to go to school today and go, I'm sorry I'm late, but I was in Europe all weekend, so I don't know, maybe you guys have heard of it, but I was actually there, so why don't you?
Well, we don't teach about Europe, but it's it's so old. It's just
Europe's old.
Europe is old. Yeah. Like that's what I took from it. Like the whole, like I've never been, and so when you go there, it's just like every building is just
1,000 years old, or
like
McDonald's.
Our oldest stuff was new, and Europe was still going.
Yeah, if you want to make America feel new, it's go to Europe, and then you're like, oh, we're brand new.
Yeah,
like it's crazy, and it feels like that when you're talking to the people, like the people there, just like there's something of like they have hundreds and hundreds of years in their genes.
Yeah, your grandpa was a knight.
Yeah. Yeah. He had, I mean, they're, they have a couple grandparents that are probably still not into cars. Yeah. Like, they're like, I don't trust them. But man, it's just how old everything is what's just mind blowing.
Yeah.
You got buildings that from 1,000.
I know. 1,000.
1,000, everything. I mean, they're new. Like I don't even think they show you 1,800 buildings. They're like embarrassed, but they're like, that's like a new
modern art.
He goes, it's affordable housing.
That's right.
they treat 1800s as that's affordable housing. Right over there is 1825. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Oxford University was, I think, from the 1,000 or something.
Yeah.
Like that. Something crazy.
Yeah.
1,000. They have to do it in BC and AC. That's the way they have to describe stuff.
AD.
AC is the electrical.
I think that's the band.
Yeah. Oh, AC.
ACBC?
Yeah. ACDC is they came out when you were in college? When they come out?
No. Mike and I was same age.
Yes.
When we were.
Yeah. Y'all thought they were for the younger kids when they came out?
These long-haired hippies.
Yeah.
No.
What was I going to say? When I was in Rome, it's really interesting because you're living, but there's like ruins everywhere. It's like you're just walking down the street. It's like Colosseum here. These things that are like, a couple thousand years old. Mm-hmm. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And the streets are like cobblestone. It's like,
Yeah, they did really good. Europe has as much as I guess some of the places that they could do, they've held on to that like architecture, and that stuff does show. Like that's where you do see with like America, you're like, you don't want to lose at least some of this stuff, like because it's like that you're going over there and you're like it's very powerful, and like so you're as a young country, and it's crazy to be you were 1700. So was 17. I had to look at it. 1776. But it's like to be 1776 and then just be like, no, don't lose everything.
Yeah.
Like that's what makes Europe so great is because, and they're very proud of it, and they're very,
But they have enough sense to preserve it. Like we would have turned the Anne Frank house into a Buffalo Wild Wings by now, and just been like, I'm sorry, it's progress.
You go, this table was the table Anne Frank sat at.
Yeah,
go, wow.
I have a little plate on that.
They go, how do they not? The servers kept their mouths shut. They go, yeah. That's what we do at Buffalo Wild Wings. What happens here stays here. I think we're built on like ideas. Yeah. Like it's like the freedom. Like everything's kind of like ideal. Like we're built on like it's a free country. Like obviously we're the best, greatest country in the world. Like I'm but it's like you want to see that to then also be like let's also
Yeah, people were tired of what was going on in Europe. Right. Like let's get out of here. Let's do our own thing.
Yeah, and look, and here we are.
Yeah.
Were there any jokes that didn't translate?
No, I just did them. Not that I felt.
Yeah.
Like that's all I could see if I felt it. I didn't feel anything.
Yeah.
They went great. Shows were great. I mean, we were like, by the time 10 days, we were like, it took me, dude, I got jet lag. Because it was crazy. I was here. I was home. And I was like, I have a show tomorrow night in London. I was driving to the airport at 4 p.m. Central. And I had a show at 8 p.m. in London.
Wow.
But 8 p.m. the next day. So, and there's 6 hours ahead of us, I think. So it was 10:42. So I was at the airport at 10:42 London time and did a show at 8. But I was in Nashville. So like we just got there. We had great guides. We just like we set up like a guide because we were in like London for 24 hours, Dublin for 24 hours. So every city we kind of got a guide to kind of just like breeze through. I mean, we're going to have to go back and do even a proper one. We were in Amsterdam for 3 nights and just the way the tour lined up. I really enjoyed Brussels. They do, I did not eat great. Like I ate great in my great, but not the healthy great. But they do fries with ketchup, mayonnaise on it. It's like,
yeah,
seems like they like sauces, and I like it.
It's real special sauce.
But what about their sprouts? Isn't that their main thing? At least that's the way
you know what? I didn't have it.
There.
They didn't throw it. They didn't throw the sprouts around.
Well, ketchup and mayonnaise mixed together is a special sauce.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that the secret sauce?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Put a little pepper, Worcestershire sauce in there.
Yeah. You feel like you made your own. You ever try to make your own
all the
McDonald's sauce?
Yeah. I do it all the time at home.
You
don't make a little sauce.
Wow.
Yeah.
It would be. I could see going to McDonald's with you, and then you going, say no sauce. I got some at home. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I just want to do McDonald's sauce. And he goes, no.
We'll do a fresh one.
Your kids are going to just be annoyed. Dad, just let it. And he goes, get it with no sauce. I have the sauce. You make your kids just eat.
Yeah, it'll be a little different every time. You know,
It'll be
a little variety.
Yeah.
You know, a little too much mayonnaise here. It's a little light this time.
Yeah.
Dusty, do you say it with a clenched jaw? I have the sauce at home.
Right.
Yeah.
They're trying to get
make
it.
a fool out of me. I have the sauce at home.
Slapping their hands.
Yeah.
Put it down. Put it down.
Did everybody in Amsterdam ride bicycles?
Yeah. Everybody. It was on. We did it. Me and Laura did it for a second. And right when we got there, we did like a little quick.
Did you miss your electric e-bike?
I did. I did miss my electric e-bike. They have a lot of electric e-bikes over there.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the new XPedition cargo e-bike, which is designed with cargo in mind. We have it. We have the electric e-bike. It's awesome. I mean, that's become a giant thing over there. A lot of people using e-bikes over there, and they go, because they go fast. It just is like, I mean, it's like driving a car. They have so many bike lanes over there.
Yeah.
You could just get your electric e-bike. And so you can do that here. It can carry up to 450 pounds for any gear you have. It's a very nice way to say it. And then it can go 150 miles on a single charge with a double battery setup. It can also carry passengers, including the kids. They're the most fun. It goes like a electric e-bike. I mean, even just riding it, it's just super, super fun. You can lower your gas costs, reduce your carbon footprint. If you're in electric e-bikes, are foldable and ship free, fully assembled. Over 250,000 dedicated riders on the road. I mean, they're everywhere in Amsterdam. People are going all over the place. Check out the all-new XPedition Cargo e-bike from Lectric. Visit lectricebikes.com to learn more about the XPedition Cargo e-bike and all of the other sweet models Lectric has to offer. That's LECTRIC ebikes.com. There you go. Yeah. So yeah, the whole experience was like I really enjoyed it.
The bike lane thing is interesting because in New York, I don't know if you guys know, but all the bike lanes, the bike lanes were popping. They made it a priority. But then during COVID, they put restaurants in the bike lanes. So there's like these shack the part of the restaurant in the bike lane now.
Are the restaurants still there?
Yeah.
They've kept them. Yeah. They've kept the outdoor.
Well, because it's fun. Because it's nice. Like when I was in New York, promoting my special whatever. There's the restaurant's just people are sitting out there, and you can have a little heater, and you're sitting out like it's a lovely.
Right.
So then you're like, how you
But
gonna?
when does that become indoors? That's like indoors too.
Next time.
Yeah.
Next time that's indoor, and then we have to move into the street.
Move
But I think what you're
lane.
arguing is that indoors already, right? If there's tarp.
But there's an opening, so there's
Right.
there's airflow in there. You're talking about for against COVID.
Yeah.
So when is that? Yeah, the next one could be like we got to be on the move when we.
Right.
So
Now
like
you're not allowed to eat on porches.
Yeah.
You got to be in the street.
you got to be walking.
You got to have a blanket.
Everything is walking. So you got to order your food and
Yeah.
you have to eat and you walk, and then a service maybe carries a table.
Maybe
Yeah.
there's just
That's
treadmills out there.
Yeah,
And you're just
Could be
walking.
treadmills.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is all solid stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the London thing was the show was the Union Chapel was in a church. It was a very old church. It looked cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, every place was great. We saw Vincent Van Gogh Museum, Van Gogh, they don't say like we do, Van Gogh.
And go.
It's Van Gogh. I can't remember now. Huh? Gough. Van Gogh.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
The GH becomes an F? Is that a GH?
Yeah. Yeah. And then so, and he had some, that we talked about the art stuff, like you saw his paintings, but he was not rich and famous then, right? But then
He was famous for
being a
dying
crazy
penniless,
person.
basically.
Yeah.
Cut off his ear.
Yeah. What happened to his ear?
Yeah.
He cut it off and mailed it to his love interest.
From listening to this podcast?
Yeah. Boom. Yeah. He's only heard it one-sided. He could only hear you, Mike. Like he goes, I wasn't hearing. I didn't know there was other people on the podcast. When you only have one ear, you only hear one of the people.
I don't know what.
But see, I always used to hear that he sent it to his love interest, but then I think
it looked like he might have, but
that's what bullfighters do. If they escape the bull and then kill it, they cut off its ear and then give it to a girl in the audience.
Wow.
That they're into.
She has to take it home.
Yeah.
So Vincent Van Gogh was like, I'm not doing that.
You find that ear. Where are you going to throw that ear away when you're leaving? If you get a flower, if you get a balloon, you could let it go or something. But in a big bull's ear.
But you have to do the same thing. Though. I'm sorry. You have to do the same thing, which is put it in water, I think.
Guess what's
the part about send it to a love interest
was simply the tormented soul who cuts off his ear.
I feel like he got an argument with a friend.
Yeah, he was like a mess. I think he was like psychotic. Dude, did you go to that one house in Amsterdam where the mayor wrote his thing in blood?
Mm-mm.
So a house that where the mayor lived, like back in the 1600s, was a madman, cut his arm off, and then wrote something in blood, and the blood is still stained in the building.
Wow!
And you can see it, and that's like, and that was just 1600s, man.
Not that long.
Like, I mean, but you that's the time you dealt with that stuff. Like, we talk about people, or we don't talk about, but politics are crazy, and you're like, back then, you're like, yeah, you do. There's people that are like, I voted for, like, I was way behind that guy, and then he cuts his arm off and writes something into a wall, and you got to be like, he won. He was like our main guy. Like we were.
Yeah. But I understand why, because that guy has follow through.
Do you
you cut your arm off and then you're like, I'm going to figure out.
Maybe he said that. He goes, let me tell you what, if you don't vote for me, I'm going to cut my arm off and I'm going to, and everybody's like, whoa, all right, we're voting for you. And then he still does it. You're like, come on, dude.
Do you take the bumper sticker off the car that day or just wait?
Yeah.
I vote for that guy.
Yeah. They did. They voted for him and then he got in. He's like the mayor. And then, he did
like,
that.
We'll let you borrow a pen.
Yeah. Yeah. He just became a madman. That is,
Characterizing somebody as a madman is great. That's not a label we put on people now.
Yeah.
He's a little bit of a madman.
Yeah. But you want that in a mayor. Yeah. I want some change.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's true. Definitely a mayor that would end up doing that, I believe, is a mayor, is some of the younger kids voted for that mayor. Like, that's when they got the young vote out. And they're like, I like this
If
guy.
I'll do that to myself, what will I do to you?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
A couple of people called me out because last week I said that Anne Frank wasn't murdered. And they're correct. She died of typhus, but they were just saying if you're in a concentration camp,
You're murdered.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So
That's very true.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. They're, that, I mean, we watched interviews with her dad. I mean, it's just brutal.
mm-hmm.
And it was like, they think like a week later, like they wouldn't have, they don't really know who turned them in. That's
Mm-hmm.
a big.
Yeah. They speculate some people that lived in the house, right?
Yeah, it was like I want to say Arnold maybe or something.
So you're saying like it was about to end
it ended
a week
And
later?
technically, I think it was
The war?
already in. The war ended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, by the time they don't just like
It took a while to get word that it was over.
Yeah. And then so they were like, if they would have stayed hidden one more week, they would have been.
How long was she in prison?
In the camp.
Yeah, in the camp.
I don't think that long.
I don't think that long, but I mean, she got sick, and then it just, I mean, because I don't even know, like, and some of them were, like her dad survived, and then you just come out, you can't find them. I mean, it's unimaginable.
Yeah.
Like, it's just unimaginable. And then, it's the original bookcase, and I mean, it's just, it's crazy.
There was a couple. I can't
Is this
remember who it
lady
was
walking
though.
really fast, or is she a ghost?
There's a couple of New York comics. I can't remember who they were now on podcast recently talking about going there and saying, the house was bigger than I expected. They expected it to be very small, very tight. They were kind of saying it's not that bad here.
Yeah,
The
it's
actual
like,
house or the attic?
It's
I can't remember what they said.
No, the rooms, like when you go in there, it's not like, I don't know if your head, you just think it's like you're just like can't move. But I mean, you got to think there's a lot of people up there.
Yeah.
They had a lot of people in there.
Yeah.
And so like every room was very much occupied. And so where the kitchen was like where the two of the parents slept.
Yeah, it wasn't just her family. It was another family.
Yeah. It was a lot of people. I mean, there was really you obviously have no privacy. And you got to think 2 years. 2 years of just everybody's got to be quiet. Everybody's got to be, it was crazy. But, is honored to be able to go visit it. And, and we, it was a fun time.
I was in Huntsville, Alabama this weekend at Stand Up Live with Angela Johnson. She sold out every show. They were all great.
Wow.
Oh, that's great.
But I was thinking the last time you guys were on together, I believe it was exactly a year ago when my wife and I were having a baby, and she'll be one tomorrow.
Wow.
All right.
And while you're in Europe, I think I told when she was born with a cleft palate, and she had surgery, and everything's great. She's already talking more, and she's doing wonderful. It's so, as you imagine, scary to give your baby over to people to have surgery. It was tough, but she's doing wonderful, and
That's amazing.
And really doing good.
Yeah, that's
Great,
great.
man.
Look at that.
Yeah.
All right.
Good
news.
Yeah, good news. It's good to follow that up.
Yeah. I was off last week, but the week before that, I went out to Corning, California. I did a show at a casino, and it was great. I did one show. People came, a lot of Nateland people from Sacramento drove down. It was great.
Wow.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I had a great time.
That's awesome.
Did you gamble?
No, I did not.
Wow.
I don't gamble. And when I walk through a casino and I see how sad everyone looks, I go, this is a good idea for me to stay away from this.
Do you shame them as you walk by?
I try to shame them.
Get your
with
life
my
together. Go
happiness.
see your grandchild. Do you just walk through?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know
point
what's
out their-
going on, but I get Vegas. I can see how Vegas seems fun, even though I still don't want to gamble there. But like, just some of these casinos out the casino itself is not sad, but all the people gambling look sad.
Well, the casino sucks you in with the bright lights and the dinging sounds. It's just like, it's a stimulus. It just draws you in, doesn't it?
I left and went out and walked around in a field for about an hour. I was like, I can't do it.
Did you do a little grounding?
Yeah, I loved it out there.
Take your shoes off?
Yeah, skip some rocks.
Did you take your shoes
I did
off?
take my shoes off. I touched some trees and it felt good.
Yeah.
I like to grab a tree. It feels good. I feel like when I grab a tree, I can feel negativity leaving
Yeah, they've
my
had
body.
it too good for too long, the trees.
Yeah.
I say we start attacking them. I'm on Dusty side on this one.
Well, I mean,
Can you imagine on highway, you look over and you see Dusty with no shoes on grabbing a tree because he's not out in the wilderness. Like he's just there's an interstate right here.
It happens a lot.
Yeah, and they just see this guy with his shoes off, and he's just holding like he's trying to strangle a tree.
I've done it at rest stops.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels good.
But Dusty does look like a guy who would grab a tree.
Yeah.
He looks exactly like a guy who would grab a tree.
He also said in one of the episodes you weren't here that he takes his shirt off when he goes places.
In Florida, if I'm in Florida and I got to go for a walk, I'll take my shirt off and walk that whole way.
You feel comfortable with that body?
I feel fine. In Florida, I feel fine with it.
In Florida, you feel
I'm
good?
not in Miami.
That's true.
It depends on, you're like Orlando. Dude, I'll take my
You don't want to be in Florida inside with a shirt on, because you're overdressed everywhere you go then.
Right. Like if you're in Miami, it's a little different.
Yes.
I hear everybody's supposed to be beautiful there. I don't know. I've not been, but.
Well, you need a singlet and rollerblades.
Okay.
If you're going to be in Miami Beach.
That's what
the
they
dress
wear.
code. That's what they wear.
Yeah.
It's pretty hot down there. Everybody's sexy. Everybody is sexy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's cool, Mike. Do you have anywhere you were at?
I was
Any fun stuff.
Where was I? I was at outside of Boston, Beverly, Massachusetts, off Cabot. And Beverly is a great town. It's 35 minutes outside of Boston. And the only problem with the town is everybody goes to bed at 9. So, but other than that, it's really great.
Shows were light. That's what it sounds like.
The Saturday shows were at 6 and 8. The late show was at 8.
Wow.
Yeah. So they just get it in early there. That's all. And they like a nice early morning, and they turn in pretty early.
So you were the comic. You got up at like 9 a.m. and they were like, "Look at this guy,
hello, sleepyhead."
Yeah.
Did you feel like a young comic again, doing late shows at 8, not even being tired?
I was like, it was the energy surge. It was great, and thank you to all the people who came out. It was really a lot of fun, and they have a mall with only 3 or 4 stores in it, and I find that refreshing. A lot of these malls are cocky and they have just like 28, 30 stores. 3 or 4 stores in a mall is enough. I think it's refreshing.
I think if you only have the 3 stores, it's good. But if you used to have more, but now you have 3, it's sad. Mm-hmm. Like a food court.
Is that all they had?
They had 3 and but there was room for a lot more.
Oh yeah.
And like what you're saying is sad, I find to be refreshing and good. 3 or 4. The food court had 2 restaurants. Like, I don't know if you would call it a court.
But room for 10? Yeah.
Do you give them a fist, because they made it.
Yeah.
They made it through all the other stores crumbled.
Right. It's a reality
and these
show.
stores got it, like JCPenney's just sitting there like, that's what's up. Castronauts.
Yeah.
You never see a Sears anymore, but there was a Sears, I think, there. It's great.
I was with Dusty in Huntsville, what was that? Late summer, fall last year.
Yeah.
And he made fun of a restaurant there in town
called Cookie Dough Magic. Mm-hmm. It's I thought it was ice cream. You go in, they have a whole bar set up, and then I picked out my ice cream. They scooped it up, put it in a cone. I sat down to eat it, and it was warm. And I was like, this ice cream's warm. And they're like, it's cookie dough. And I was like, ugh. I feel like cookie dough is like a thing. Like if you're making cookies and you have a little bit of it, and you're like, that's good. But not like a
No, I actually disagree. I would have eaten the whole, like it's for sale in the store. I would have eaten the whole thing of cookie dough back in the day. But they say it's salmonella, or there's something in there that could really hurt you.
Well, they needed you.
Well, I was craving it, so I thought I'm going to walk down to that cookie dough place and get me some.
Because are you pregnant?
Well, I was with Angela, who is pregnant.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
We said, let's go down there.
Your taste do become like when Laura's pregnant. Your taste do become if they crave something. You're like, I can eat that too.
Yeah, and we walked down there, closed, out of business. Now a creamery is opening up.
An actual ice cream place is coming.
Oh,
it should have been all along.
Yeah. This guy ran them out of business.
I shamed him all week at the Huntsville club.
You went back there after you were already dissatisfied?
No,
he didn't go.
On stage.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah.
It's like Babu at the restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Told him to close it down and open something else.
Yeah.
I feel like they were intended to be a cookie place, but the last minute they were like, the ovens.
Yeah.
We needed the ovens.
But you ever been to an ice cream place? I think it was in Minnesota, where they take the ice cream and then they put it on on just a wooden table, and then it's almost like it's dough, but they put the ice cream there, and then they put all the toppings that you want in it, and they kind of cut it up and mix it together
stone?
and all. Yeah, is that what they do? Yeah, it's like that.
Oh,
and then they take it and they put it in the cone and give it to you. But it's like a weird. Seems like an unnecessarily long process.
Oh yeah,
that they take.
But they want you to. It feels fresh.
Yeah, it feels fresh.
Like it's they're like kind of beating the ice cream up a little bit.
Yeah.
I got some gelato in Amsterdam, and I went to this place. Didn't have great reviews, but I'm addicted to sugar, so it didn't matter. And it was late, and so I go in there and I get it, and I get a cone. And he hands it back to me, and it's flat. So it's like just up to cone level. He doesn't put scoops in.
Right.
And so it's just, you're like, isn't that the free part of the, when you pay for even if you get only one scoop, I think anything below the cone is like,
you're like,
that's part of the pay. Like that's not.
You're like, in America, this is the beginning.
Yeah, that you don't. Yeah, you can't just go. Well, the first scoop is just the we're being so exact,
so literal,
that he goes, well, I did one scoop. That's all you paid for. If you'd have told me that, I would have paid for 2 scoops just to get to my 1 scoop.
Right.
And so he handed it to me, and I just left, and I didn't. And I thought about it. I was eating it, and I was like, I just thought about it the whole time. Then I went again the next night, and I got 3 scoops, but I got the scoops. And then he was filling other people's stuff up too. I think he took it out on me. But it's like, it's like when I went in there alone, it's like they didn't. But it was just a flat cone.
Was there a language barrier?
No, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, in America, like 1 scoop means 2.
Yes, it does. They really go after it in there because they know you're watching.
Yeah.
It's all transparent. That's what I love about the ice cream business.
Yeah.
And and you could see she's really trying to get it in there and to scoop it. So yeah, one scoop is equal to 2 scoops.
Yeah.
But apparently they don't feel that way overseas.
He didn't that night. Not at all.
I wonder if he was just messing with you and you were instead of confronting him, you just like, I'll take it.
Yeah, I think I was confused. And like Laura was like around the corner. Guys, I was under the wire trying to get this in.
Right.
She's like, "Oh, you ate that fast."
Yeah, like she's. I'm trying to kind of get it without her seeing me go order it.
Yeah, she didn't even know.
There's
about
a lot going on.
No, maybe my take is that maybe she called him and was like only 1 scoop below the.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, it's disappointing. All right. All right.
Kind of shows you where the reviews are coming from, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can see. I thought I should.
Oh, that's a good thing to go on and write a review. This guy only gave me a little bit of ice cream, not even above the rim. Is this traditional here? 1 star.
Yeah, it'd be like when you get shoes and they run a little small, run a little big. It's like the same thing with that. Be like, just so you know, your scoops run a little small.
It won't be messy.
Yeah, it won't be messy. It's flat. I've never even seen it. It looked like my scoop fell off, and I just walked around just a flat. You shouldn't. Your first thing of ice cream in a cone, you shouldn't have to bite the cone.
Yeah.
And that's what I had to do. Yeah. All right. The return of Greg Warren. Sorry, Mike. Do you here? But people would rather him been here. This is just they knew you were going to be here.
Yeah.
So they
Just bring him back.
They go, the specials we were talking today, we did all the specials I've done is all division or college athletes.
Yeah, I thought about that later. Joe Zimmerman's a golfer.
Yeah. It was a college golfer. All D1 athletes.
Yeah.
That's all. All
You
I
went
work
from
with.
us, who is the most strenuous sport, to Joe, which is the most leisurely. Are you going from strenuous to leisurely as far as your special?
I'm going from y'all look like what y'all do. You and Greg look like wrestlers. Joe looks like golfing. I do. It's authenticity.
We should get you and Greg to wrestle.
People say that.
Don't
Dusty.
spoil it. That's the 4th special.
Is that the 4th special?
I'm also going to let Joe fight. I think they both will take Joe down immediately.
I've seen Joe work out though, and it's interesting to assess someone because we've been on the road together, and the way that Joe works out. Joe gets it in.
He does.
Joe and goes pretty hard, pushes himself pretty hard. So I do not think he's a pushover in physical contact sports, which he probably has never played. But I don't think that he's a pushover. I think he's probably tougher than we think.
I don't know.
No,
I don't. I think
tougher.
no.
You think he would just smack the glasses off his face and he would crumble?
I think you could give Joe the clubs in the ring and y'all would still beat him. And you could go, Joe, you can hit him with these clubs. And I think you could still, y'all would all take Joe pretty quickly.
I think he would beat you in bird watching.
I think if you got him, I think I would let him have birds too in the ring. I would say you can bring clubs and bring any bird you want
Birds
to be
of
on
prey.
your side.
Yeah.
Birds of prey.
Is that a
and
match
I still
you would
think you would
accept?
lose. Would you accept that?
I would accept that, yes.
So Joe.
But Joe, I think Joe is tougher than we're giving him credit for.
But so you versus Joe, but Joe gets his golf clubs and a bird of his choice.
I would take Joe with his golf clubs and bird of his choice versus just Greg Warren.
Yeah.
Because Greg Warren is very, very tough.
Yeah,
we suggested that last week's episode. Thanks for watching, Dusty. And Greg said that he's so out of shape that you would probably take him.
Maybe that's my only saving grace is that maybe I'm in better shape now.
Yeah.
But in his heyday, I'm like, God, that guy was very, very tough.
Well, you're younger. You know. Oh, he said, that whippersnapper. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Snapper whipper. The return of Greg Warren. Josh Arthurs. The conversation about Pringles versus Lay's reminded me of the type of conversations that would happen on Seinfeld. It was really interesting and relatable. Greg's loyal to his brands also would suggest that he's probably a great friend. He defended them fiercely. I miss Dusty, but I still managed to have a good time. Let's go, folks.
Wow. Well, thanks, Josh. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Greg.
I missed you too, Josh.
Greg is a great friend. He is a great friend. Dusty, I can see you're opposite.
Yeah.
You would be.
I would turn on Lay's in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah. I would think a lot of your friends have said, I thought he was my best friend.
And then he quit drinking.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I bet you were a very good friend then.
Yeah.
And then once you stopped drinking, it was like now you question everybody's motives.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is true.
The government was all involved in your business.
Yeah. I mean, the moment I quit drinking, I started seeing what they were up to.
Yeah. You go, what's going on? You go, has that van been following me for the past 3 years? You go, yeah. Kim Cottrell.
Yes, she was in Sex and the City.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Kim Cottrell.
Kim Cattrall.
That chemtrails.
Something for all of us.
Yeah. Maybe this is chemtrails writing in, and they just go, make up a fake name.
Yeah,
and he goes, Kim Cottrell.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, that's good.
That's a good code name.
Yeah. I once turned up a can of Pringles expecting to get the crumbs at the bottom. Instead, I got a mouthful of cigarette ash. Ooh. My mom has been using the empty can as an ashtray. Didn't keep me from smoking as an adult, but I do not eat Pringles. Oh, so that was the mom. That's funny.
Wow.
I love that Kim just picked up an empty. She had not been eating out of it. She just picked up an empty one and then turned it up.
Yeah, but I don't think you question it. Now, this sounds like Kim might have grown up where you grew up.
Yeah.
Where you would use Pringles cans as an ashtray. So you're talking from experience that you go, this is a rookie move.
Yeah, I mean, you don't just pick up a random Coke can and drink out of it. It could be dip spit. You don't pick up an empty Pringles can and I mean, maybe Kim was starving.
But what is the person doing putting their cigarettes out into these does anybody question them?
No.
You guys are taking the other side. You shouldn't just drink random things. Like, how about you shouldn't put a cigarette out in a Pringles can?
Well, I think if your house is on wheels, then maybe you should know what to expect.
I think what the mom would say, I pay the lot rent and I bought these Pringles. I'll ask whatever I want.
Yeah.
Would they say lot rent a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have a trailer in the trailer park.
Yeah.
So you rent your lot.
Yeah.
Unless you don't own the trailer.
Would someone show up with get a brand new trailer? Like, would someone back in, get rid of a trailer and then they go, wow.
Yeah, once in a while there were some nice trailers that would come in.
And they move out and then move into the new one?
Well, I think you would move in with the new trailer. I don't ever remember anybody living in an old trailer and then getting a new one.
Yeah.
If they did, they moved to a different, nicer trailer park.
Oh, there was like levels of trailer parks.
Oh yeah, my sister after she moved out lived in a trailer park with a gate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fancy.
Yeah.
So it was like nice trailer parks. So it's people that just like, sometimes it's people that just don't want a yard, don't want, like the trailer, they're nice.
No,
and
they're still poor.
Yeah, I don't know the reasoning. I think they are still poor.
All right, let's not. Yeah.
No, but I think
They're
it's
not
like people
doing
that
good.
live in RVs and they just drive the RV. Like people just, it's like, I want the least amount of stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And, I don't need, like, maybe I travel a lot. I don't need a big house to take care of. You're like, I just got a little trailer and I would like a gate.
And I think there's different levels of that too, right? There's the people who retire and buy an RV, and then there's the people that live in an RV parked on the side of the highway that doesn't move a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Was there ever property disputes like, get off my lot?
No, not really. I mean, we all were like, we ain't got a lot of room around here. Let's just, we're
Still
okay.
with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be. So if you would see a new trailer come in, were there any of them you'd like, oh, that's fancy, like those?
Oh yeah, I mean, in our trailer park there was double wides on either end, and it was like they were almost like
those are the mansions.
They were almost like wealthy people.
Yeah. They were like they went on vacation.
Yeah. I mean, like I remember my buddy lived in one, and he had a laser disc player. And my mom worked for a factory that made VHS tapes.
Mm-hmm.
So Laserdisc was a real threat at one point. And I went home telling my mom about these Laserdisc, and she got real mad at me.
Yeah.
About bragging about this guy's Laserdisc.
Yeah.
And it didn't catch on.
Yeah, what was a Laser-disc?
It was like a record, but for a movie.
Yeah. They went to DVDs.
They were like this big, yeah.
Yeah.
And it didn't catch on.
That would be it's funny for the guy to have a double wide trailer and spends all his money on something that does not work out. Like a laser disc, like he goes, I'm at the beginning of this trend. I mean, probably costs so much money.
Oh yeah.
And then it's just like DVD. It goes straight to DVDs, like Laserdisc, or I don't even know if you could buy a movie that does, and he just threw all his money into it.
I don't even see Laserdisc in the thrift store.
Borderline never even. I don't.
Yeah, it was too fast. It was too fast of a jump.
Yeah.
To DVD. DVD was like the thing. But what's Blu-ray is a form of DVD, isn't it?
Yeah, but that never really took off too.
Yeah, that was a last ditch effort. They were like, let's try to hang on to these.
By the end of it, you're getting a Blu-ray player just because it comes with it says it's Blu-ray on it. But you're buying a DVD. Like we have a DVD player that says Blu-ray, but it's like it's a DVD player. Like, but then they just needed to jam Blu-ray in there because it's like they invested so much in it. I don't know.
And then they all go out of business. And you know what they need is Indeed.
Boom.
Indeed's the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates with the right skills when you can do it all with Indeed. Find top talent fast with Indeed's suite of powerful hiring tools like Indeed Instant Match, Assessment, and virtual interviews. See, you could use Indeed to hire staff here if one of us doesn't work out. It can go both ways, guys. One of the things we love about Indeed is it makes hiring all in one place so easy. Indeed knows hiring needs to be cost-effective when you're running your own business, like Nateland Entertainment. That's why with Indeed, you only pay for quality applications that match your must-have job requirements. Visit Indeed.com/Nate to start hiring now. Just go to Indeed.com/Nate, Indeed.com/Nate. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Boom.
Boom.
That's how I got Mike.
That's how we got rid of Aaron.
Yeah. I hired Mike off Indeed.
Yeah.
I need a comic to be on the podcast. Royal Al with cheese.
Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese. The entire argument about a bag of chips being half air is totally invalid for the simple fact you're buying them by weight. The size of the bag has nothing to do with what's in it, unless for some reason the weight of air bothers you.
Well, this guy works for Big Chip.
Yeah, it feels like he works for them right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. This guy took it a real and aggressive
He's like, how
stance.
dare you think that you were about to get this many chips?
Yeah.
Royale with cheese. That's why it's a made up thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, learn how much chips weigh, buddy.
What's his real name? John Lay. Right?
I mean, he's referencing Pulp Fiction, which we did twice last week's episode on Europe.
Oh, yeah.
because the quarter pounder in McDonald's. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he's right. But still, if you get
it's not
bag
really
of chips,
it's not fun to defend the air. He's defending half air.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're not when you buy a bag of chips, you're not like, ooh, I bet these chips are heavy.
Right.
Yeah, you don't buy them for the weight.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't go, these don't weigh like a lot. So it has nothing to do with what's in unless you're somebody. So you're like, I'm buying this amount. Like you're like, I'm buying 20 ounces of chips.
Right.
So the bag could be the size of a house.
Yeah.
Right.
But I paid for.
No one ever says I'm buying a pound of chips.
Right. Yeah.
They go get me a bag of chips.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why it would be like,
right?
You would be like, yeah, you're right. But
it's misrepresenting because you're looking at a bag. You're like, oh, that bag is probably full of chips. That's what I want to eat. I want to eat a bag full of chips. Yeah. And then when 3/4 of it is air, you're disappointed. Does this guy live in the real world or no? He just lives in measurement land?
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, you want to be like, we're having a society. We're trying to have a society here.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you wouldn't buy a can of Pringles and it's half full. And they're like, oh, it's the weight. Yeah. Chips weigh more now.
Right.
Yeah.
They're heavier potato fabrics.
This guy must be a scientist.
Yeah.
Michelle Salyer. I had my comment read on this episode. It might have been a little more exciting had they not referred to me as my brother Michael. It's not the first time he's gotten credit for my work, and he is thrilled about it. It's the casual approach to detail that keeps me hooked to this pod. Still love you guys. Because I said Michael.
I didn't misspell
Michelle.
it. I miswrote it.
Yeah.
Michael. So
yeah.
Guess what, Michelle? You get 2 quotes read now.
Well, can I say something? Because I'm a Michael and my sister is Michelle, and people mix us up and it does hurt. So I got your back, Michelle. Where am I at 1? We got your back. I got your back, Michelle. It's wrong.
Why do you think
you're the brother?
I'm the brother.
So the sister should be coming in to
that's
defend
true.
it.
That's true.
So I don't even know what you're doing it condescending.
No, I'm not doing it condescending.
Do they ever accidentally call you Michelle?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When?
What's the deal with Michael and Michelle being in the same family so often?
Yeah.
Seems like a weird coincidence.
Is it like
is this your sister?
Definitely like we have one kid and then you're like, I guess we're having another one.
Yeah.
And you go, I don't want any thought behind it. And then you just whatever it is, you go, Michael, fine.
Well, yeah.
Are you the oldest or you're the youngest?
It's my brother John. Then Michael, and then Michelle. My brother was named after my father's grandfather. I was named after my mother's grandfather, and Michelle was just a name that my father and mother liked.
They picked out of a hat. And they go, what was in that? They go, there's 4 Michaels and 1 Michelle.
I support you, Michelle, but my sister spells it with 1 L, so just check up on your spelling.
Andrew Shivrier. Andrew Shavier. My favorite replays are tennis replays. They show a CGI ball touching a CGI line and say, see, it touched the line. It's all computer generated, though. They could put anything in there. They could put a dinosaur in the stands just to prove to Dusty that they exist. 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, that's why I don't believe it. Video evidence means nothing to me now.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's not quite what he's saying. We were talking about instant replay, and
I agree with him, even though he doesn't like to space his name here.
We were talking about instant replay in sports, and he's just saying the most ridiculous one is tennis because that's all animation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean? It's all animation. Aren't they just showing what?
No, because it's like when they show
court?
it's like kind of that cartoonish look, the CGI. Like, so when they show it, I don't know how they get it that exact. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah, I mean, he would agree with you.
So it's, I guess you could be like, when they show it, they're like, well, obviously it was in or out. You're like, what? I just don't know what cameras they're using.
Maybe they're sensors of some sort.
Yeah. See, it's all stuff that you just kind of say, and then I think even if you asked them, they'd be like, I don't know. I just draw a guy. He's got a pen. He goes, and then they go to it. He goes 2 lines and a ball.
Google tennis
and then
replay.
He just flashes it out,
Yeah.
and then they show it, and then he goes, and we can't tell because they computer generate it.
Maybe an image or something.
What about a video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Hawkeye instant replay makes its debut in tennis in 2018. And then so It's if we're
That was
watching
out.
it here. That
Clearly
was out.
out.
So they're going to show it, and they're making this video longer than we want it to be for this exact moment.
Yeah, I mean, we could go ahead with this anytime.
So he challenges. So if you challenge it, then they go to the official
There we
review,
go.
and so this is the CGI, and it shows you.
I think it was out.
But it's
for
like
the-
where's the camera? I guess the camera's like above it, maybe. How are they seeing that?
Let's go again.
And it is crazy. Why would
The
you
whole
start?
thing?
Don't start at the whole beginning.
Well, I just wanted to see if it was really out.
Well, you can't see. That's
was
the
on
point.
my-
Is
Okay, I see it.
it's so fast.
It's his name. His name's Fish, I'm assuming.
Mhm.
It said Fish Challenge. I thought they were going to whip out some fish out here.
Yeah. Then how they do it is that whoever can eat the most fish, they bring a table out.
Yeah. It's like, was it out? I don't know. Fish Challenge.
But it's
I mean, I don't even think that's a camera. I think that's all just CGI.
It's made up then? Is that what you guys are saying?
Yeah.
Then why would they have that? Why would they put
Well,
that in
that's
place?
this
It's to get
guy's
the
point.
thing more accurate. They're trying to get it more accurate, right?
Yeah.
Can you just be like, oh, in good faith, they want to get it more accurate.
Mhm.
So they're just making it up, or
I trust that they get it right. I think
Yeah.
they have sensors of some sort that can.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you just. I guess they have. I mean, they can do
Right,
so
right.
much of stuff. We can make.
The whole system
And
depends
also
on
the-
trust. You
the-
got to trust it.
The
or-
refs in
Yeah.
tennis don't use that, so it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, they don't.
I don't think so, do they?
I have no idea.
is there instant replay in tennis?
That may be the
Yeah,
first
they
time
just
I've
did a
ever
challenge.
watched
Yeah.
tennis.
They just did a challenge.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
So
You're right.
yeah.
I thought it was a fish challenge.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But Dusty, he's saying you don't trust any of it, and there might as well be dinosaurs in the stands. That's how
Exactly.
fake it is.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Well, they
dinosaurs,
could
They
make-
might as well show
They could put a dinosaur in
a
the stands.
mirror on the moon.
Like for the saying they should do for the Dusties of the world, they should
Right.
also be like behind like Tiger Woods watching tennis is like a T-Rex.
yeah,
And then maybe have the moon be like the moon. Ooh,
Like,
even the moon's coming in.
Yeah.
And then,
Nickelodeon,
yeah.
when you watch football on Nickelodeon, have you ever seen that?
No.
You should watch it with Harper sometimes. They'll, there'll be the real football game, but then they'll just have a big splash come and,
Yeah.
it's animation, but it looks like it just fell on a
Happened
guy.
for real. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess the game's not enough. Aaron Thumb, as the only dentist to ever be mentioned, comment read in the show, I feel I need to defend my profession. There are obvious signs of grinding like flattened teeth and overgrown jaw muscles. So your jaw muscles are too jacked. I assure you that it's not in our best financial interest to put you in a mouth guard if you are a grinder. There is a lot more money in repairing broken teeth than protecting them. We truly are just using our expertise to improve your health. That's a good point.
This feels like something I challenged.
I challenged it.
Okay,
I was doing a
alright,
joke
okay.
about it. I challenged it because
Okay.
you're like, yeah. So
if you guys don't trust CGI, you're definitely not trusting dentistry.
yeah. Aaron has no hope.
Well,
And-
my thing of the mouth guard was always, they tried to get me in a mouth guard one time too. And it's like, so now I just wear a mouth guard all the time. It's like, what if I fall
Yeah.
asleep at someone else's house and I don't have my mouth guard?
Yeah.
It's like, I got to put a mouth guard in
Yeah,
every night I
right.
go to sleep now.
yeah.
Well, I don't
I
think
will
it
joke about it.
hurts you worse if you don't put it in there.
I
It's
feel
just-
like your mouth gets used to the mouth guard. And then what do you do then when you don't have it?
Mm.
You know?
Well, maybe you have to get maybe the friend that you're spending the night at. Maybe they have a mouth guard or an extra one
Yeah, maybe.
laying around.
Yeah, maybe I could do a mouth guard and a CPAP and just have a whole routine to go into
Yeah.
I
sleep.
saw a guy with a CPAP on the plane.
Wow,
Wow, that-
Yeah.
that guy really can't breathe.
Yeah.
He really can't breathe
Yeah.
if he has a CPAP on
Yeah.
the plane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Jared Sanders. This is the Europe comments. I was painting a house and was 30 feet up a ladder when Nate said nomad when he meant no rad. I had to hug the ladder to keep from falling. Oh boy. I was laughing so hard. I dropped my paintbrush, which hit the AC unit, making a loud bang. The homeowner came out to check on me, laughing hysterically at the top of the ladder. All I got to say is if I died from falling off the ladder, at least I went out on top or bottom. Thanks for the laughs, gents. Keep them coming. You know?
All right.
It's kind of
that?
it's fun to have that kind of impact.
Yeah,
You know?
the power to literally kill.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Mike, that was good.
That was solid.
Yeah, that was solid.
I stand behind it.
That was in reference to Greg Warren saying he took a computer class at West Point, and you said, what was it? You were trying to say NORAD, but you said Nomad.
I don't think I was trying to say NORAD. I think I was.
Oh, you thought that's what it was?
I think I was saying Nomad for. I don't even know why I was saying Nomad.
I don't know what either of these things are.
NORAD. NORAD.
I mean, I know what a nomad is.
Kind of a wanderer.
I think so.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nomad is a wanderer.
And the other one I say NORAD instead of NORAD.
What do you think nomad comes from? If you're like a wanderer, maybe you're like, life is so good. You're like, I'm not even
Maybe
mad.
you're not mad. Maybe you're not mad.
Having a good time.
Yeah.
Having a good time. There's nothing to be
mad about. I'm on my own.
I have nothing to had since I became a nomad.
Yeah.
Or if you do
Now
get
we're
mad, you leave.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Because you're nomad. You
'Cause
go,
you're a nomad.
I don't allow mad in me.
Yeah.
So you get out. It's not very rad of you. Ray Missoura. Breakfast I caught when you said I have a cousin who lives in Florida. Great throwback. Keep it up, gentlemen. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, did you hear me say that?
Yeah.
It's one of your oldest jokes.
Oldest jokes. Yeah. Solid.
He used to have a joke about when you moved to New York, right?
Yeah. And they go, you're from the South? Oh, I have a cousin who lives in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're just naming names now.
Naming names now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still good now. It's good in the 80s. It's still good now.
I think you told it on CMT Comedy Stage.
Yeah, I think I did too. What was Seinfeld? He said that it was good. It was a good
joke in the 80s.
And it works now.
Still works now. CMT Comedy Stage.
Yeah, I looked recently to see if I could find it, and I could find the list of performers, but I couldn't find any video.
So, they started showing like
Look at that baby face, Nate.
11 years ago, trying to remember if I remember that show. Like it's crazy to be like 11 years ago when you see some of this stuff. We would look at that Nateland Entertainment. So that is the YouTube Vecchione special will come out. Can you click on that? Like, what is that? Oh, I guess that's my thing. So look at that. Look at that, Mike.
Looks good. 9 people are waiting.
Yeah.
You haven't
All right.
subscribed to your own?
Now, this is a guest login.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And you got a new website too, I noticed.
I got a new website, and then but leave it on the so this is Nateland Entertainment at Nateland. Go there to subscribe. We got 90,000 subscribers, doing great, and we're gonna have these specials come out. That's where the podcast is at. Anything that the Nateland Presents is kind of the stand-up portion of this that I want to put all the stand-up on. Where we've got Mike's coming out, then Greg, Joe. And then we have another thing kind of in the works with some stand-up. That will be coming. You'll hear about that soon. Yeah, we're going to put this because it's like that's what I have had trouble like what I wanted this to be, but it's like I want it to be. I'm not trying to make it where it's like it's like clean, but it's again. I'm a good way to describe it. I think is the night like TV clean in the like 90s. Like it's just like that. If you did a special on TV, it's like that kind of clean.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not trying to tell anybody what to say or not anybody to be funny. It's like you can do what your act is, and I don't want you to be anything that you're not. I want just to be comedy that's just not filled with cursing. One more person's waiting. Did you just do it?
I didn't do it.
We're seeing in live time.
Wow.
10 people waiting. I tell you what, if we get to 10, it's 2 more than I thought we were going to. So, premieres in 4 days, March 24th at 5 p.m.
It's a very strong special. Please watch. I'm very proud of it. So thank you.
All right. It's up to you go then. No, it's an amazing special.
Yes.
And you are the start of this whole thing. Where I think we can build this up as we're starting now. We're going to do specials like this and get stand up into where people can watch it. And I want you to be able to watch it. And, it's like if your kids walk in the room, it's not going to be, not saying it's not for kids, but kids could listen to it, or you don't want them to be worried that you have to turn it off, or you're going to have to kind of get nervous and be like, it's like you're kind of trying to avoid that.
Or even if you're like a 20-year-old kid saying you want to watch comedy with your parents. It's
Yeah.
like we've all been there where you're
Right.
like, oh, I really love this comic. And then you put it on, you show your parents, and the next thing you know, you're like, oh man, I'm clearly
Yeah.
desensitized.
Yeah.
And I had
Right.
no idea that this
Yeah.
was, you know.
Yeah. And then, I mean, and then they go watch Mike on the road. Like you started work clean now.
Right. So we're
And
doing
so,
a clean
like,
hour.
it's because that's the other thing is like when we do stuff. Now, I can't promise you, everybody. If Nate Land presents or Nate Land is behind it, it will be the TV clean that I approve of, and but I can't. But I'm not gonna make if someone goes on the road and wants to be dirty. It's like I have no control over what they do.
Yeah.
But you're someone that's
I'm doing a clean hour on the road now. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Like, it's not that hard for me. It's, I've done a lot of Tonight shows and I have to make it clean for that. And that's as you know, that's a process of like getting it a certain way. So it really wasn't that difficult to make it. I was already kind of there anyway.
Yeah. And so it's like, I think that's something that helped because then people can go and like, they will better go see you and,
Right.
Man,
And I have been getting Nate Land people on the road. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah. Colin Schulte. I am surprised at how few of us Americans know the difference between the United Kingdom and its member countries. Also, I'm sorry to break it to you, Brian, but the UK never used the euro. They used the English pound even while part of the EU.
Okay. What? I mean, he said, I love how he said, I'm sorry to break it to you, Brian. Like I was printing up T-shirts and
Like you got a bunch. I saw you with all your euros just now saying you're about to go to the UK.
We got a lot of euros, and Laura was like, oh, everybody uses euros. And I was like, I don't think they do. And then, because we just talked about it, and I was right. She was wrong. So it felt good.
Did you use any crones?
No, we did not use crones. We didn't. We just had euro the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was mostly all euro. But I think in somewhere they were like they would take American everywhere too. Like they just like take our money.
Yeah. In most places they do.
Yeah.
But he does raise a good point here because I always used to get confused between the UK. It's like, were you guys like aware of that? It's like, it's England, Ireland, Wales.
You're already wrong.
Yeah.
It's
Ireland, England.
No.
It's
Britain, Britain, Wales, Ireland.
No. It's England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland.
Yeah, I knew England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. Yeah.
So basically Game of Thrones.
And then someone pointed out that Great Britain is just those three without Northern Ireland. So they got a lot going on there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
He was always surprised that we didn't know that. Hey, Colin, how about you stop condescending us?
Yeah.
You were always surprised.
Took me a while to pull it up, but I did get there.
Well, at least Colin did include himself in that.
Yeah.
He said,
He was very nice.
Us
The
Americans.
Netherlands. I think that's a fun name.
Mm-hmm.
Wales. All right. Ryan Schick. Nate constantly refers to Anne Frank's house as Anne Frank House, like it is a Southern steakhouse chain. Anne Frank House.
So you go
Sounds like somewhere Dusty would work.
Yeah.
you go get your Franks.
Yeah.
It's like hot dogs.
It would almost be like someone starts a restaurant, Anne Frank House, and then someone eventually has to go, hey. And you go, what? You're just behind the kitchen slammed. What? It goes, I just had a table. And, I'm a kid, so I never really thought about anything. But you're an adult. Your house it's called Anne Frank House. Like, Anne Frank house. He goes, yeah. He goes, yeah, Anne Frank House.
Totally different.
And they're like,
Yeah.
my name's Ann,
Yeah.
and I love Frank's hot dogs.
Yeah.
This is
And
the
I live
Ann
here.
Frank house. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a slogan for Anne Frank House. Like that's like Anne Frank House where I don't know.
None of our dogs are in the closet.
Yeah.
They're
You
in
know what I mean? They're in the closet? An attic.
attic.
Yeah. In
In
the attic.
the attic.
Yeah. He has kitchen is behind a bookshelf.
Yeah,
And he
like
goes,
this.
but why is there a bookshelf where the kitchen is? Because I thought it was an old library. I bought this place.
That's where I keep my cookbooks.
Because to keep my cookbooks back there. And they go, no, but it's called Anne Frank House.
I like this as a steakhouse because you go, how many times did people get this confused? And you go, it's rare. sometimes medium rare.
Yeah.
Well done. Do it.
Yeah.
It's a steak joke.
It's a steak joke.
Could just be a family run. Anne and Frank's house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Frank House. Cam, the Belgian fry place on 2nd Avenue in New York City Greg mentioned was called Pommes Frites. Great place to go after some libations. What's that? Booze?
Yeah.
I think so.
Cam's a drinker.
Loved it. Awesome memories there. All that said, it blew up from a gas leak a few years ago.
This is like the ending of a movie.
Yeah.
He just did it. It's like everything was going great and they were in love. And then the family blew up from a gas leak.
Yeah. That's what sounds like what happened to Anne Frankhouse. Anne Frankhouse Steaks.
I looked this up, and yeah, the owner of the building was messing with the gas lines, trying to save money by linking them together, and the whole building blew up.
Never a good idea.
Did he die? Or?
I think 2 people died.
Wow.
You know, this reminds me of something. I don't know if it's related, but St. Vincent's in New York is a hospital. It was on 7th and 7th Avenue and 11th. And it went out of business. I don't know how a hospital goes out of business, especially a Catholic hospital. You'd think there's some roots there, but it went out of business. And now it's like a brick oven pizza place. But what if you get injured in New York and you don't know that? So you have the ambulance take you to a brick oven pizza place.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you need to admit me here into this brick oven.
You're like someone that hasn't been to town in a while. Like
It's my favorite hospital.
Yeah. He goes, no, you're going the wrong way. Take a left over. I'm going to St. Vincent. He goes, they know what to do. And you're trying to tell an old man it's a pizza, a brick oven pizza. He's like, what are you even talking about? He goes, how could a whole hospital become a...
I know. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm bleeding. But do you want salad with that? Do you want a salad with that?
That sounds like a terrible place to go eat, though. Well, this place used to be. Oh, it was at a hospital.
It was a hospital.
It used to be
Yeah.
a hospital. A lot of
Golly.
people died in here.
Yeah.
Well, do you know my idea is, it would help with jobs if when you got out of high school, they just assign you to a building, and then whatever that building is, that's what you do. If it's a Dunkin' Donuts, you work at a Dunkin' Donuts. If it's a funeral home, you work at a funeral home. It's like whatever it becomes, that's what you do. I think that would make everybody's life more enriched.
You're saying you're sent to a building.
Yeah, you're assigned a building after high school. It's like you're going to be with this building now, and it's like whatever the building is, that's what you do.
Yeah.
So if it keeps changing businesses, you
Yes.
just keep
What if
doing
the
it.
business?
That
What if
is
the
fun.
building is abandoned?
Well, that's the well.
And you
that's-
smoke
got-
crack.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
All right. Well, that's more exciting.
makes
I
it
like
tough.
that.
That's something you got to figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be abandoned
It
buildings.
could be
yeah.
abandoned building. Do you
I
want to
like
be abandoned? No, then you got to start something.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the only
that's
time
good.
you
That's
got to be
entrepreneur.
clean. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only time you might want an abandoned building.
That's the only
Right.
real
if you
freedom.
have big ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go, you could roll into this Dunkin' Donuts and that's what you are. And then, I mean, if you go to Dunkin' Donuts, you're only going to be maybe a Starbucks, maybe be like a drive up booze place.
Right.
Like it's not big.
Right.
So your options are just very limited. So you'd want to be, but you want a big building. You get if you're the St. Vincent,
Yeah.
I mean, your guy went to 8 years of doctor school.
Yeah.
He's done surgeries on everybody, and now he's in the back like flipping
Yeah.
pizzas.
It's refreshing though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's refreshing.
I mean,
you don't have all that pressure on you. You
I
know?
do like it.
Flipping
I
pies.
like it a lot. Like,
But do you know where me and Soder lived in Queens, and across the street is that Starbucks. That used to be a funeral home. That's why I remember that. And
Yeah.
Soder would never go there because it was a funeral home.
yeah,
And I was like, live a little.
This coffee's
right?
burned.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And Frank House, where you'd be so full you won't be able to talk. And then everybody's like, "Yeah, but that's like because they." And he's like, he never
never
realized
thought
it.
about
I
it.
love the guy who never gets it.
He
Yeah.
goes, "No, I want you so full that you're gonna just sit there quietly at the table and not make a noise." Well, the floors are wood. You got to walk accordingly so it doesn't squeak. Yeah, that's part of it's a game. Everything is like, yeah. Super Scott Crawford. All right. I had really appreciated how your sponsor ad reads used to be all together at the beginning and midway through the show. Now I notice they are sprinkled throughout. At first, I wasn't fond of the new style, but I find the way you manage to transition from conversation to the ad reads Now, very witty and entertaining. BB Gun Baits does an excellent job making sure the bills are paid.
Well, I appreciate that, Super Scott. I mean, yeah, you got to be listening. If you don't, you'll fall asleep.
Yeah.
And when I fall asleep, I like to be on a Helix mattress.
Boom.
I did too. Mike
I
slept
did
on one
too. Yeah, I
last
slept
night.
on one last night. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Very refreshing.
Yeah. Yeah. The Helix mattress, I mean, we've had a million comics sleep on it.
I slept on
Everybody
a
loves
Helix
it.
pillow last night.
Yeah.
Matter of fact.
Yeah.
Best pillow I've ever owned.
Yeah.
Not even making that up.
It's I use their pillow too now. Helix pillow. It's great. Helix is a premium mattress brand. There's no better way to test out a new mattress than by sleeping on it in your own home. They offer a 100-night trial. That's such a good mattress thing to do.
Yeah.
A 10 to 15-year warranty. Try out your new Helix mattress. We all sleep on it. We love it. It's super comfortable. We had a bed somewhere, one of the homes. So I want to say Amsterdam. That was super hard. And it was like tough.
When you came back to your Helix, did you have like panoramic dreams? Because if you don't sleep well and then you do, it's like your mind opens up.
Yeah. You just sleep great.
Did you leave the Anne Frank house and then immediately complain about the mattress?
Yeah.
Like, oh,
I said
it's the worst.
If Anne Frank, she would have had a Helix mattress. It would have been great.
Yep.
I took the Helix sleep quiz. I don't know if that was appropriate to say. That was me making, the Helix is like, Helix is like, yeah. Then I took the Helix sleep quiz and got matched with the Desk Lux mattress because we wanted something that felt medium firm. This is why I said he listens to the ads.
Yeah, for reasons like this.
Yeah. Helix is offering up to 20% of all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/Nate. This is their best offer yet, and it won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now. They're off 20% off all mattress orders. Wow. All right. helixsleep.com/Nate. So this week, I don't know what we're talking about.
Talking about the Mafia.
Oh,
Right.
good one.
I assume, Mike, you know a lot about the Mafia?
Yes.
He knows everything.
Well, no, I'm just like a junkie. I'm just like a casual junkie. It's an interest. I read all the books of anybody who would come out. How we learn about the Mafia is like the guys who cooperate usually write books. So I've read a bunch of the books, and now they all have podcasts. So now I listen to all of their podcasts.
So I'm sure you know the 5 families.
Yes.
You
Could
guys
you name the 5 families?
Yeah. Well, I'd assume you could. I was going to ask if you guys.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Gambino,
Yeah.
Gotti, or no, is he part of one?
He's part of the Gambino.
Yeah.
I can't name them. Mike, let's see if
Yeah,
Mike
go
can.
ahead.
I have my own 5 families of Mafia, but
I thought you just have 5 families.
Yeah.
I have several. I may have 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of last names floating around.
Well, your dad's been married 4 times, and then
My mom was married twice. My dad was married 4 times.
Yeah, 6 families.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
well,
6
but
families.
once was to his dad, so that's 5, right?
Yeah.
that
So
is 5.
so you do have 5
yeah,
families.
wow.
That's pretty great the way that worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe this could be a clip. Okay, sorry. Get it in post. I'm gonna stop pounding the table. Gambino, Genovese,
good meat
Lucchese, Colombo, Bonanno.
Boom. You got
Wow.
it.
Yeah.
You got it.
Wow. Well, how do you remember it? They start rhyming at the end.
No, it just reminds me of every Italian last name there sounds delicious.
But
That's why it sounds like a kind of food.
yeah, did you know anybody with those last names, or like anybody like? Would you ever hear them in the Italian family? Like, are those common names, or they're like? Oh,
No, there was a kid like there was a wrestler when I wrestled in Northeast Ohio named Genovese, who was very, very tough. This kid Genovese, he actually won states in Ohio, and I think he was a descendant of the Genovese family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Lieutenant Columbo? You know, the detective from the 70s? You think he's you think he's
that would be like a misunderstanding if Columbo was investigating the Columbos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
would
we
be
can't have this. I wonder if that Genovese,
Yeah.
like, so that wrestler.
They're supposed to be the highest, the most sophisticated family, the Genovese family.
Oh, yeah.
The most insulated, the most high echelon crimes like labor, racketeering, and all this stuff. And they insulate themselves very well. So very few of them relative go to prison. relative to the other families.
Yeah.
Like the Colombo family, they had a couple wars and they're just all killing each other in the street. It's like the Genovese aren't.
The Colombo family against each other?
Yeah. They've had like 3 wars where they've had different factions like killing each other.
Where's that going on at?
New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
it's not going to creep down here, I don't think.
Yeah.
Because you guys are armed.
Yeah. Genovese, like I'm saying, like though that wrestler, like if he's probably a descendant.
Yeah.
If not, though, they have to find out. I wonder if they they got to be like proud, like, oh, this guy is like legit and he's good.
Well, that was back when I was coming up,
Yeah.
so there was none of this, social media or press or anything like that. By the way, I would be mortified right now if I was wrestling because I would get pinned. I mean, I was pretty good. I wasn't Greg Warren status, but I was pretty good. But just having the matches taped and put on YouTube is, I mean, it's terrible. I mean, it would have been terrible for me because you're already getting pinned in a gym full of people watching. And there's nothing more emasculating than going out against somebody your own weight. And that because there's no excuses. And then he just takes you and manhandles you and holds you down, and then,
You're in a room with someone that can beat you up.
Yes. They could just, especially getting pinned, it's like they can just take you and like in college a couple times, I got beat to the point where I was just getting thrown, physically manhandled. It's like, well, there's just nothing. Yeah, but if push came to shove, there's nothing we just like, we're in an art, there's nothing I could do about it.
But to your point, like what you said, you're in a room with somebody. I mean, that's me every day. You're saying though, people your own weight, exactly. Yes. So there's no reason why you should be manhandled.
But I think
there's no reason. Everything's equal. It's not like he was bigger than. There's no excuses. Yeah. He was bigger than me. He was this than me. He was that. It's like no. They make sure everything is the same, and there's a ref there to make sure no one cheats.
But they did. But I'm saying someone in the room. It's like I think if you're like a guy, no matter what room you're in, you think you're like I could probably. You're like if I had to beat someone up, I could. Like if I had to fight everybody in this room, you're like. All right, I can maybe you have an imagination. You at least have a confidence inside of you that's even not going to be true, but you have something in you that's like I'll if I have to, I'll have to. But you are now know you're in a room that there is no. It's over. Like you just got beat up.
They're like there's a lot of air in that bag.
Yeah. I beat a guy one time. It was in Florida. They used to have these in-school matches. So 7th period, everybody would get out and go to the gym and watch the wrestling match. I watched the wrestling match and I beat a guy and it's, in front of his home crowd. Cause when you're going to that situation, it's an away school. They're all like booing you and everything. And I used to kind of love that cause there's no risk then.
You're the heel.
Yeah. So I beat him and then afterwards watch him and his girlfriend fight and her like break up with him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then you took her?
Liked it.
Did you go
No,
out with
I
her?
did not. No,
You should have.
Yeah.
I did not go out with her or anything like that, but it was really something to watch.
Yeah.
All right, if they had social media now, you would at least look her up.
Yeah.
You would at least look her up and like a photo.
Yeah. You would do
You
that.
still could.
Could you find her? Yeah.
Could I find it?
Yeah.
But my point is like having that on social media is would have been
tough.
terrible for me.
Yeah.
Everybody watching that.
All right. So, Mafia, if you don't mind, not talking about wrestling for 2 seconds.
What is your favorite Mafia movie?
I
think I know.
What?
The Departed.
Yeah. I mean, that is my favorite.
Do you have one?
That's a great one. I really liked Donnie Brasco.
It's great.
It's great.
Yeah.
I really like that one.
So
You're Goodfellas?
I don't know. Like Goodfellas was very good. I've just watched it so much that I thought it was very, very good. But I would have to say probably the first Godfather.
Mm-hmm.
It's really great.
Yeah.
It is really great.
Mine's the
Godfather 3.
Still never seen it.
Godfather 3 was the best one.
You just stepped on my joke. I was about to say
sorry.
mine's Godfather 3.
Oh, sorry.
I've never seen The Godfather.
Godfather 3, I watched it recently.
I've never
Very
seen The
open-minded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not like
so
that.
bad.
Yeah, I'm not like that where it's like somebody says they never watched The Godfather, I jump down their throats. Because there's that great Family Guy clip, if you ever seen, where it's like Peter says he didn't like they're about to drown. And he says, he's like, just because we're all going to die, I'm just going to say I never liked The Godfather. And then they just argue with him. And it's so great. And the way he explains it is so funny. So, yeah. But, give it a look.
Yeah. Well, there's
It's
a
a
few.
classic.
I got a few.
It
I
is
got to
great.
go.
It won the Oscar, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe it was David Chase who created Sopranos.
Yeah.
Said that the FBI told them they heard on a wiretap of 2 mafia guys saying Sopranos is so accurate they think somebody's tipping them off. Like,
Yeah.
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
Isn't that a great compliment?
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Because a lot of the storylines in there are based off of real things that happened in the history of the mafia.
So
Like there was a gay character
yeah.
in there, a gay mobster. It's like that actually happened in New Jersey, actually. The guy, one of the heads of the family, he was the acting boss, I think, of the family in New Jersey and was secretly gay, but it got out that he was gay.
And did it end badly for him?
Yes, it did.
Mm.
Yeah, as in the show.
Well, you were talking about the Genovese family, and it said that Vincent Chin Gigotti.
Yeah, that's the guy who used to walk around in a bathrobe pretending he was crazy just to establish an insanity defense.
They called him the Odd Father.
Yeah.
And when I was watching Sopranos, Uncle Junior, and there was a different storyline.
Right.
He was getting dementia, but
Right.
he walked around,
Right.
And I wonder if they got that idea.
I don't know, but the guy, they said that the actual boss, Vincent the Chin, was sane and a stone cold killer.
Yeah.
So he was just faking it the entire time. He would check himself into institutions and stuff so that if he ever got arrested, he would have that as a defense and it would be well documented. It was very smart for the time.
Mhm.
Now, like they eventually got him and put him in jail and he died in prison. But I mean, for the time, that's a great thing to do. You periodically check yourself into institutions.
It'd be tough to convince someone you're crazy these days.
Yes.
Well, I feel like they're just give it to people now too.
Yeah.
They can just. It's almost like you can say everybody's technically crazy.
I was triggered.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
even that guy though, you could be like, is he crazy? You're like, well, he kind of is. I mean,
He's going through the act.
Yeah.
Which it's a crazy thing to do to like,
And he's killing people.
He's killing people, but you're pretending that you're crazy
Yeah.
for 30 years. That's kind of crazy.
That's
Yeah.
like when homeless people say they're not crazy. They're just out there wanting
Yeah.
money. Well, for them to do that,
Yeah.
something's not
Yeah.
right.
Right.
And there are I've seen some crazy people. But the thing about a mafia movie is like, you're always watching it and like the guy, like the hero or the main character's like doing awful things to people and killing people and beating them. And like, we're still supposed to be rooting for this guy.
That was the
It's
whole
hard
thing
for me.
That's the whole thing behind The Sopranos, though, that Tony Soprano character. It's like we were all kind of rooting for him, even
Right.
though because he had an endearing
Yep.
side that you tapped into, and you were like, "Oh, this guy is, he's fun and he's charismatic." But then the dark side, the funny thing is they would show you the dark side of it, and then you would have that like inner struggle where it's like, should I be rooting for this guy's pure evil on the other side of it? He'll kill, do whatever he has to do.
But you got a
order
lot of
to
the same
survive.
problems that we have.
Yeah, a lot of the same problems.
You
You can relate to him.
issues
Yeah.
and all that.
Yes.
Like in Goodfellas, when Ray Liotta beats that guy nearly to death in
Yeah.
the driveway for
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, it's like, I guess he was like a bad guy, but it was like, all right, too far.
Right.
And that was a true story, I believe.
Yeah.
Henry Hill did that.
Right.
The guy like made a pass at his girlfriend or fiance or whatever, and
Yeah,
went over-
something.
went over there and beat him up.
The
But I would argue
Irishman-
that that's even nice to tap into, like, from a fantasy standpoint when you're watching it, to be that guy who just like, we're all in our heads and all of us are different with confrontation, but just like, I guess I'm just gonna go over there and just beat this guy's face in, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
Like to
in the-
have the freedom to kind of go do that instead of like overthink, like, let me go up there, let me talk to this guy.
Right.
You just go from zero to, like, all right, well, I guess this is happening now.
It's
And
like
then you don't
being
think-
an
you don't
alcoholic when you're not even drinking.
Right.
You're just like,
Yeah.
I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the you mentioned Donnie Brasco. That was the Banano. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, it was a FBI agent who posed as
Donnie Brasco.
Donnie Brasco,
Joe
a street
Pistone?
guy, Joe Pistone, to get to infiltrate the family,
Yeah.
to take it down, which
And-
he did a good job of.
So there's a commission. The
Mhm.
5 families on the commission. Now I read once that happened, it got out. They got kicked off the commission. They couldn't go to the weekly meetings anymore, or whatever it is.
They got
sound
taken
like
off,
bingo.
they got taken off the mailing list.
The HOA board meeting.
Hey, Genovations, this is what is it? The name?
Banano.
This is Banano. Are these going to spam? Or I'm not getting these emails. Where are you guys meeting at? Like,
were you guys at the Pancake House? You're not at the Pancake House?
Yeah. He goes, I mean, I was there. I sat at the same table. I even thought, the waiter goes, I thought, he goes, you waiting on your 4 other friends? And he goes, yeah, they'll be here. They've never not shown up. And then Bonambos, they go, Mr. Bonambo. They go, I'm sorry, but we have a big group coming in, so we need to.
The bananas got ghosted?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. But no, the commission is the New York 5 families, and then it used to be like 24 families throughout the country, and everybody had a seat. Most families had a seat on the commission. The boss had a seat on the commission to make policy decisions about the American Mafia overall. And yeah, because of that happened, that family got kicked. Their seat got kicked off the commission.
So what does that do for them in the whole scheme of things?
In the whole scheme of things, because the other 4 families, they did this whole, it was called the Windows case, where they all conspired to rig. New York City was putting windows in all of the low-income housing all over the city, and it was going to be millions and millions of dollars. So they rigged it so mob contractors would get the jobs, and they would get like 2 cents a window and they all conspired together to do this. The other 4 families, but they left the Bonanno family out of it because of the Donnie Brasco's thing. So this scheme was like millions and millions and millions of dollars, and because the Bonanno family was off the commission, they got left out of it. Stuff like that, where it's like where they're racketeering and stuff and setting stuff up, they got left out of. So it actually ended up working to their advantage because these guys all got busted for that, and the Bonanno family had nothing to do with it. So they were able to like stay away from being put in jail because they had nothing to do with it.
And they got back on the commission years later, I read, in the 90s. So they got back on the mailing list.
Is there still a commission?
I don't know. I don't know if they, I guess there would have to be, but I don't know if they meet anymore because
Zoom.
It's too...
Because of COVID?
Because of COVID, yeah.
6 foot rule. Wear your mask.
It's too dangerous to meet. It's too dangerous to meet because of law enforcement infiltration. So maybe they send messages back and forth somehow, but it's too dangerous to meet, I would imagine now. But, I don't know if there's actually a commission anymore. So they're kind of working together, though, so I guess there would have to be.
So there's 5 families. That's just 5 families in New York, and then there's more families in Italy?
Just 5 in New York. The Italians aren't really connected to the American Mafia. Yeah. The American Mafia is the Italians over here. The Italian Mafia is different.
They were connected at the beginning? Or
yeah, they could have. They've had connections with them over there, but it's not part of the same organization. Like they blow each other up with bombs over there, and traditionally in America, that's in the American Mafia, that's frowned upon. I mean, I'm not saying it never happens, but it's against the rules to blow somebody up with a bomb. Whereas in Italy, they just do that pretty routinely.
Is there anywhere that the Mafia is still like those old school ways? Like Russian mob, I guess, or?
Yeah, well, the Albanians are supposedly very strong, like at least in New York, are challenging.
Yeah.
They're working with the Italians a lot, but because the whole goal is to make money. And if you can use each other to make money, that's better than fighting, because fighting is just you die or go to jail. So these guys are smart enough to realize that, so they've been working together. But there have been some iffy situations where Albanian gangsters have moved into Italian controlled areas, one of those families, any one of those families, and have challenged them and been like, we're going to start a gambling operation. We're not going to pay anybody. And they're like, well, you have to pay us. And they're like, do whatever you have to do. We're not paying you. So,
and what happens?
It becomes a standoff type situation. Either the Italians or whoever the established family is backs off, or they work out some kind of something. I don't know. It just depends. But there have been confrontations like that, from what I understand.
Well, the cartel probably is the mob, like kind of
the cartel, the drug cartels.
Yeah,
organized crime.
Yeah. But they're still like with the Italians, it's like I think all the families are involved in drugs, but their rule is that they're not supposed to be dealing in drugs just because of the long prison sentences.
Yeah.
You go to jail forever. And there's also a moratorium on killing now in the Mafia. So it's not because they're morally against it, but because they'll go to it'll add a life sentence onto whatever they're being charged with. So if you're just being charged with gambling and racketeering, that's like 5, 7, 10 years, 15 years maybe. And those guys can actually do that time. That's not a big problem. But if you add a murder conspiracy onto it, and you go, well, now you're never getting out. You're never going to see your children again. And then that will flip them. So it's 50-50.
Instead of killing someone, do they put them on the shelf?
Put them on the shelf, which means they don't deal with them anymore. Which I think they could have been doing all the time, all along.
I think in Donnie Brasco, Lefty, played by Al Pacino, he's the one that got Donnie into the family, messed up, brought him in. He went to prison, the real guy.
The real guy.
Never squealed, never did anything else. So when he got out, instead of killing him, they just put him on a shelf, which means he's just done.
He's done. But that was an amazing thing because, he looked obviously terrible for bringing in a guy who was an FBI agent, but he kept his mouth shut the entire time and took I think he had a 20-year sentence. They gave him 20 years and he just took it, kept his mouth shut and went to prison. And because originally when it came out that they didn't induct him into the family, but they were dealing with an FBI agent, the commission put a hit out on everybody who brought him in, who was associated with him. They planned on hitting everybody. But because this guy kept his mouth shut, and even though he knew he was going to get hit, he kept his mouth shut and did 20 years in prison. They rescinded it, which they never do. They rescinded the hit on him. So then when he got out, they just, he was on the shelf, but they didn't kill him.
You think does he have to go get a real job then?
Probably.
Really?
Probably pretty old then.
No.
I mean, but whatever the terms of your parole are, but imagine a guy who's just like a notorious killer is bagging your groceries.
Yeah, I know. That's
on top. No, be careful with the eggs.
Yeah.
Real attitude problem now.
Yeah.
So you guys are Italian. You could be in the mob.
Yeah.
Dusty and I couldn't, but we could be associates. Like Donnie Brasco was Donnie the jeweler. What could Dusty and I be to?
I don't know if I could. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, you could.
I could. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, because
your father.
Italian.
Your father. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but
we're like Swiss Italian. Like it's like towards the top. Like it's,
yeah. You guys were the condescending Italians that looked down on the South. Yeah. Because Italy is divided into the North and the South. The North is where all the industry, where all the winners are, and the South is poorer. So the complaint from the South to the North was they always look down on us.
Italy.
Yeah. And Italy.
We really showed them. We were from I think we were the very top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top of the boot. Yeah. We're from the Naples area, and my mother's family is just east of Rome. It's a small town.
Did you go visit them when you went over there?
No, I just went to Rome and didn't move. Just stayed in Rome, but I actually should have, because it's not that far from Rome where they were. It's a small town. It was on.
Does that help?
Yeah, I mean, just a regular map would have been nice, but.
All right.
That one's got meat attached to it.
Yeah, what is that? The map from the Olive Garden?
I'm trying here.
There you go.
It's a 60.
I'm new.
That's a $64 map.
Yeah. Can you zoom in?
That wouldn't let me zoom.
Okay.
So there's I want to go over the structure with you, Mike. There's the boss or the Don.
Right.
And I'm going to use Sopranos to help me with this. So technically, that wasn't Tony. That was Uncle Junior, right?
Yeah.
Then he was the boss.
He was.
They
the
put
boss
him in
of the
as the face, kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So all right, the family, like there's these 5 families.
Yeah.
But there's only 5. But how many are like total?
There's only 5 in New York. There's one in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
There's one in Boston, there was one in Providence area, and they controlled.
So there's
the Boston
a ton of
one.
families technically.
Not so much anymore, because there used to be like one in Louisiana. That's got to be. There used to be one in Cleveland. I was just in Cleveland in Little Italy, and it's like there used to
Did
be
you get in touch.
There used to be
Look them up.
Yeah. Well, there used to be a full family there, but now it's like from the FBI. It's just it's non-existent. So cities like that, but it's still in the Northeast, Boston, Providence, Philadelphia area, Jersey, obviously, 5 in New York,
Minnesota.
I don't think I've
too
heard
cold.
of it.
Not a lot of Alabama mafia activity.
No.
Well,
Milwaukee. There was a family in Milwaukee because that was with the casino. which was another great movie.
Actually, Dusty, you would be wrong.
Kansas City.
There
was
are some
Mafia.
Southern Mafia.
Okay.
Kansas City, St. Louis. Yeah.
Kansas City's big, right? Like in Ozark, they dealt with the Kansas City Mafia.
Yeah. But those guys were Irish in Ozark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's the State Line Mob, which is a criminal element on the Mississippi-Tennessee state line. And the movie Walking Tall, you guys remember that?
Yeah.
The Rock did the remake, of
Yeah.
course. That was kind of, he was dealing with those guys.
Okay.
Organized crime. There was the Cornbread Mafia. We talked about that on the Kentucky episode. You weren't here. They, group of Kentucky guys.
Oh, Hazard, Kentucky.
Oh.
Harlan County.
Created the largest domestic marijuana production operation in U.S. history. Call themselves
Wow.
the Cornbread Mafia. And then there's the Southern Mafia, or the Dixie Mafia. They were based out of Mississippi. But they're not associated, like you said, with
Right.
those.
But what are they? It's usually broken down, like back in the day, it was broken down by ethnicity. Like the Irish had a group, the Jews had a group. And then the thing about Lucky Luciano bringing the 5 families, how that all came together was he was like, no, we don't need to be all Sicilians. It's like anybody I can make money with, I'll deal with. And that's why he brought Jews in.
Mm.
Yeah.
Jesus kind of did the opposite. You don't get it? No? All right. Well, it used to just be Jew. I mean, God's chosen people,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
now we're all
Right.
all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
He kind of, yeah.
He let us all in.
Yeah. Yeah. He kind of did the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, we don't all have to be Jewish. We can all come together.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Then there's the underboss.
Yeah.
That would be Tony Soprano, right?
Yeah, he would be. But a lot of times, like,
Jesus didn't say Jewish people are not allowed.
Well, that's not a perfect analogy, but I'm saying God's chosen people were the Jews.
Right.
And then when Jesus came on the scene,
He was like, we're all welcome.
right.
yeah.
He, like a Lucky Luciano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Similar
commission.
vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. He had a
But
commission.
Lucky was Catholic, huh?
Lucky was Catholic, I
Yeah.
think. All these guys were Catholic, quote unquote Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but yeah, the underboss, and then sometimes what they do is the underboss is supposed to be serve the boss basically and be in that administration. But
Yeah.
some in some cases, like in Philadelphia, they had a boss. The underboss was more powerful than the boss, and the boss was just a figurehead.
Did
Like
you
on The
know
Sopranos.
that
Yeah,
Mike
like on The
knew this
Sopranos.
much about the Mafia coming into this?
I kind of
Yeah.
did.
Oh,
Yeah.
I kind of
okay.
did.
All right.
Well, if anybody, we just did Theo's podcast too. We talked about the Mafia today too. Just so this one will air first.
You guys did it today?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Talk about the mafia?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
No, I
fine.
did not know that.
Yeah.
No. We didn't, but we're going through stuff. It's different. But we talked about it today. But I knew he was into the Mafia like this.
Yeah, you told me that before. So then there's the consigliere.
Yeah. It's like a counselor to the boss.
So on The Sopranos, that would be what's his name? Stephen Van Zandt.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right. Then a capo, right?
Yeah. The captain.
Who's a made man.
Yeah. And they have a crew of like soldiers.
And then can soldiers be made men?
Soldiers are made
Okay.
men. The captains have a crew of soldiers that are made men, and then the associates.
And that's
are-
what Dusty and I could be.
Yes.
So, like in Goodfellas, Robert De Niro
Right.
could not be a made man.
Could not be a made man, but that guy, that true story of that guy is he was a very, very powerful guy. So that you could have guys
Even
who-
in the movie, he was.
yeah, you could have guys who are not made guys, but are very, very powerful associates, more powerful than some made guys,
So
just
they,
because of their status.
they pulled off that how you say it?
Lufthansa.
Lufthansa heist.
Mhm.
It was at the time the biggest cash theft in U.S. history.
Yeah,
$5.8 million.
yeah.
Didn't y'all live right next to the diner, right? In
Yes.
Queens?
Yeah,
We went to
on
that
the
diner.
way. Yeah, that diner where they shot the scene with when Ray Liotta was being followed by helicopters, and he meets Robert De Niro for breakfast. We lived by that diner.
Is that the same one where he goes out and gets on the payphone and finds out that?
Maybe
Yeah.
that was the same.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah. So John Gotti,
yeah.
crazy thing. I don't know if you know this. His next door neighbor accidentally ran over John Gotti's son and killed him.
Oh.
That's the wrong person.
Yeah.
And that guy disappeared.
Guy disappeared. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, also tough to, I don't know the situation, but to accidentally run over someone seems a little.
Well, I mean, they ruled that it was an accident. I think the kid ran out in the street.
Right. The kid ran on the street. He was on like some kind of a motorbike or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
It was a
yeah.
tragedy, but the family was obviously shattered by it.
Yeah.
And I think the guy was okay for a little while, but then he disappeared. Never to be heard from again. Yeah.
And it's like, I guess they feel like, well, they have to do it. Like, for them.
There's speculation as to what took place. Some people say, he just did it. Other people say he was going to let it go because the guy was really apologetic and sorry, not that it brings the kid back or anything like that. It's still a tragedy. But many people were saying that the wife wouldn't let up and really wanted it. Yeah. Wanted his head. So, that's why he disappeared. I think that,
or maybe they witness protection potentially, or
I think that the guy was going to leave town. The story goes that guy was going to leave. He knew that he was in trouble and that he knew that he was going to be in danger. He had a family. Yeah. He knew he was in danger. So, cause he knew who that guy was back then. So he was going to move, but they got him before he moved. So.
Note to self, though, if you live next to a mafia guy, just go ahead and move.
Yeah. Just go ahead and move.
Just in case.
And definitely drive slow.
Yeah.
And then when the moving trucks come, just have all eyes on the kids.
Yeah.
I would say move in the middle of the night. Do whatever do whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe move in broad daylight so you don't hit kids.
Yeah. It seemed, but
get an escort.
It would seem that you'd never know how to react around those guys because they can anything makes them snap.
I'll tell you the worst I ever bombed. I don't know if these guys were gangsters, but they were it was pretty close, I think. It was at the end of COVID, and I did a benefit in Long Island. It wasn't a benefit. I was paid to do it, but it was in Long Island, and it was like sanitation and hauling and concrete, and it was just these guys and their sons, and it was in a hall. And this happened to me before in front of Italians, the worst I've ever bombed. The worst. To the point where one guy was laughing sarcastically at me and everybody else was just looking and not making any reaction. Because there's a thing, I think laughing is showing vulnerability. Mm-hmm. And these guys were just like, no. I don't know why they would have a comic there. I mean, but they had me there. And I guess besides the one guy laughing at me, everybody else was just stone-faced to the point where the guy who organized it, one of the heads of it, started walking towards the stage like 35 minutes in. And I was like, okay, here we go. And he goes, that's it. Yeah. He goes, that's enough. And I was like, thank you. Good night.
Did you get paid?
Yeah.
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 He just left.
I just left. I was like, anything now, it's like something like that, bombing that bad is like, that's a podcast story.
Yeah.
Where they were just like, I don't know if we knew what we were getting. I don't know. That's the one person has one idea about it, and then everybody else is just of another.
They want Don Rickles or something.
I think so too.
Like they want it to be. You're supposed to talk about The Room.
Yeah.
But
I even did that a little bit, and that was even getting nothing. So it's like these guys, and the guy who booked me was a comic. His father was one of the guys in the karting company. He was like a young comic. So he was like, yeah, I want you to do this. He's very excited and cool and nice. And like to him, I'm funny. I'm very good. But to them, they were like, we don't care about any of this. So it was like, there was some miscommunication there between, he thought it would be a good idea. They thought it would be, and everybody else was like, no, we don't.
Did that guy go up?
Yeah, he went up and he struggled.
Yeah.
And then another guy went up, he struggled. And then I went up, I had to go for the longest. And I was really struggling to the point where that guy walked up and was like, it's good. It's enough.
It's a bad spot for you too, though, because if two people before you have already struggled, then the audience has already made up their mind that this show's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. And it's like also there was no women. It was all the same kinds of guys with their sons. And it was just like, we don't like any of this and we're not into any of it.
If they had heckled you, would you have gone back at them?
Yeah. And then whatever happened. But it was just like, it was just very, very cold. And that's happened to me a couple times in front of Italian, because, Italians, I'm Italian. I was Italian American anyway. And I figure, these people, but no, the worst I've ever bombed is in front of other Italian Americans, especially like in one time in Queens and like Ozone Park. So it was really like Italian neighborhoods. Like, they didn't want to hear it.
Your health could be in danger unless you took athletic greens.
Oh, yeah. I mean, our next partner is Athletic Greens, Mike. I think all of us take our AG1 by Athletic Greens every day.
We took it today.
We took
Nice.
it today.
I
We
took
did
it
take
today.
it today. I had not taken it, and then I got here. We took it. Now I have a lot of energy. I feel very good, very sharp. We all gave AG1 a try because we wanted increased energy and immune system support, especially during the cold and flu season. I take AG1 in the morning before starting my day, and it makes me feel like I'm doing something good to cover my nutritional basis. It's much easier to mix the 1 scoop of powder and water once a day than to take a bunch of different things. It's the healthiest thing you can do in under a minute, and it costs less than $3 a day.
Wow.
I also get single-serving travel packs, so I never have to miss a day when I'm on the road. Every scoop, this is very important. Every scoop has 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients of the highest quality that have major benefits like gut and mood support, boosted energy, and even healthier looking skin, hair, and nails. I mean, look at this hair.
Yeah.
Look at this skin.
It's flowing.
AG1 has been part of millions of mornings since 2010. If you're looking for an easier way to take supplements, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/Nate. That is athleticgreens.com/Nate. Check it out.
There's a show on now. I haven't seen it, but it looks good, called Godfather of Harlem. Forrest Whitaker plays Bumpy Johnson. And are you familiar with him?
Yeah, I tried to watch it.
Is it not good?
I didn't. I love Forrest Whitaker, not in that role.
Yeah.
I didn't love it. No.
Well, I was
And
familiar
Vincent D'Onofrio's in it too. He's great too, but I just didn't love.
He is great. Is that he's like Kingpin in the Punisher movies or Daredevil show?
Yeah, I don't know those other things.
He's great. he was the Thor character in Adventures in Babysitting. Did you ever see that as a kid?
No.
Full Metal Jacket?
The break. Yeah, he was in Full Metal Jacket.
Okay.
The Breakup.
Better
He was the
reference.
older brother in The Breakup. You know,
Okay.
The Breakup is a very underrated movie with
I'm
Jennifer
familiar with
Aniston
that.
and Vince
Yeah.
Vaughn. He's great. But he's great. I mean, they're individually great actors. I tried to watch it. I
was
can't watch
somewhat
this.
familiar with him because American Gangster,
Yeah.
Denzel Washington played
Yeah.
Frank Lucas, who was
That's an interesting story too, man. American Gangster is an interesting story of him, Frank, being Bumpy Johnson's driver.
Yeah.
And then him taking over the drug trade and then having to like navigate because the Italians controlled the
Have you seen
heroin.
I found
and
it to
stuff.
be very boring. American Gangster.
Really?
it?
Yeah.
Really?
You don't like it? I
Very
liked it.
boring.
Well, what they were, I don't know if this is true or not, but in the movie, he was getting the drugs over here. It was during the Vietnam War, and he was putting it in dead soldiers' coffins
Mhm.
and shipping the drugs, and nobody's going to go search a dead soldier's coffin. So
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
that's how he was getting
Well,
it.
he had the purest over there too. He had connection to get the purest stuff. So he had it over there. But I think that movie's a little bit false in the sense that he would have had to make some kind of a deal with the Italians at the time because they were just powerful. They were really powerful, especially with like the police and politics. Like, you know, if they could have eliminated the competition in a number of ways, including having the police just arrest their competitors. You know, because I think they were getting their heroin from Sicily, or you know.
I love The Departed. That's based on Whitey Bulger. They didn't call him that in the movie.
Yeah, that's another one I would put up there. I like The Departed because they just caught the guy.
They just caught him, and then
I
what's
mean-
more interesting is like they had him in jail, and they
Yeah.
transferred him to another prison, and then he got killed in prison, and he got killed in prison by a guy who got arrested who was indirectly associated with the Genovese family, and because a superior of his flipped and put him in prison forever. So, and he's from the New England area, the guy who got put in prison forever from the Genovese family. So Whitey Bulger has the reputation of being, you know, a rat for all those years and cooperating. So when he got moved into the prison, they plotted, they heard that he was coming into the prison, and I guess bad security or whatever, or the staff there didn't think about what they were doing and wheeled him into the wrong area and left him alone for a few minutes, and they snuck in there and brutally, I mean, they killed him pretty brutally.
Who would that have been in the movie?
Jack Nicholson.
Jack
okay.
Nicholson, yeah.
He was 89 when he died,
Yeah.
so he was pretty
He
old.
was pretty old, but he was in a wheelchair and they wheeled him in, and like those guys, like
You just stay here for a second. We'll be right back. He goes, nothing can go wrong. There's some good Italian men in here. He goes, I'll be honest with you, it's one of the better cells to be in. They cook really good food. All right, everybody, we'll be right back. Whitey Bulger. All right.
Yeah, they just announce it.
Yeah. Just bad news.
So he was an FBI informant.
Yeah.
People didn't know it at the time.
Yeah.
And an FBI agent tipped him off that he was about to be arrested.
Right.
And that's when he fled and hid for 20-something years?
Yeah, he hid for a long time.
And he just hid in Santa Monica. I mean, just was like, it was crazy to be like, this dude could just be gone like that.
He was number 2 on the most wanted list under Bin Laden for years and years. And then he got Bin Laden, and then he was number 1.
Wow. So. I bet he hated it when they got Bin Laden.
Yeah.
So they just caught this guy?
Now, this was years ago.
I mean, I was doing comedy when they caught him. Like, I remember.
It wasn't that long ago.
Like, I want to say
2011.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he died in 2018.
Yeah.
Prison.
Yeah, he's probably ready to go at this point.
He was. They said he was a brutal guy, though. Just really a vicious guy. So, I don't know.
He deserved it.
Johnny Depp played him in a movie. I didn't think that one was
Black
that great.
Mass.
Yeah. I liked it.
You did?
Yeah. He's like great. Yeah. That movie's. Yeah, I like that movie
Never
too.
seen that.
Yeah. It's good.
I'd like to watch it though. Maybe add some context to The Departed.
Yeah. It does. He was because he's saying he was a rat, but you're like, I guess he did it the right way. He was like, never gave up anything.
Well, no, he did give up his enemies. Like there was the Italians in the north end of Boston. I was just in Boston, north end of Boston. They were named the Angiulos. They were like brothers, and they ran Boston for the Italians. So it was like a rival group, and he informed on them and got them all put in jail. So that they eliminated his rivals that way.
Yes, but I mean, so he's not ratting in the way of telling on your own people.
He's not. Competing. I don't think he was telling on his own people. He was anybody who competing or whatever. Yeah. But the whole. But the rules are you're not supposed to talk to the government at all. No matter who. Well,
then the FBI guy that was in the inside.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy's Black Mass. That guy's great. In it, that guy is awesome.
Oh yeah,
that guy got prosecuted in real life.
Yeah,
and he's doing he's doing life.
Yeah. But he's I forget his name, the actor, but he's great in that movie.
He is.
Another one from in New York who did that is Gregory Scarpa. He was a stone cold gangster in the Colombo family.
Yeah.
And it turns out, like after he died, it came out that he was an informant for years and years and years and years, and got a lot of people jammed up. But he was a killer, man.
No one knew he was.
No one knew he was.
And then,
even his own people, like when it came out, like they were in disbelief that he was.
And he died, or
he died. He died of AIDS.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But no one got to him. They didn't.
I mean, he was in prison. He got put in prison.
Did he have a blood transfusion?
Yeah, he had a blood transfusion, and
trying to convince that.
What's that?
You got to really convince that in the 80s. You're like, no, it's a blood transfusion. They're like, I bet it was. And then, I swear to you, it was a blood transfusion.
But you know what it stemmed from? It stemmed from him. They said this, that he would drink all the time, but he would cut it with whatever alcohol he was using with water, and he would also take aspirins to prevent the hangover. Mm-hmm. So, but after years and years of taking aspirins, it kind of would eat into his stomach. Mm. So he had to go get like some kind of a stomach surgery, and he needed a blood transfusion because of that. And then instead of taking the hospital blood, which was tested, he asked all of his crew to come in and give blood because he didn't trust the hospital blood. Well, but it turns out somebody in his crew was doing steroids, and he was sharing needles.
Yeah, I'd read that they wanted him to take blood from a minority, but he was such a racist. He's like, no, I will not do that. I'll take one from my own guys.
Right.
And he dies.
Yeah.
That's a guy, I don't know what I was trying to say. Like, so do you have stuff on Iceman? Or?
I looked up a little bit about him. I don't have anything here, but he killed like over 100 people, I think.
Yeah, the Iceman.
I know him, but like I know who he is. Like, he killed 100 people.
I think so.
But he was like a serial killer that I think they just used.
They used him to, from what I understand. This is all from what I understand, by the way. I just listen to the podcast or read the books.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in it. And it's like, they used him in certain instances to kill.
But he was like a serial killer. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he was just truly like crazy.
He wasn't crazy, but they used him to kill. But that
Well, he was crazy in the fact that he's did what he did. Like when you watch, like he killed. I mean, he just killed people for like he just felt like it.
Yes.
Like he just wanted to see what it was like.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it's. I know you think that's normal, Mike, but it's crazy in my world. But like, yeah, so I would think like, and he's in New Jersey during the Mafia times.
Yeah.
That you're just like, they're like, yo, this dude, because he's not Italian, he's something, and then. But he's enough that like they're like, will you kill this person? And then it's like, yeah. He's like, I'll do whatever. Like, you know,
For money.
for money, he doesn't care.
Yeah, he doesn't care. But he was he would work for this crew of guys. He did some jobs, at least. I don't know exclusively if he worked for him out of Brooklyn. And it was called the Gemini Lounge. And these guys that's this book called The Murder Machine. And these guys killed hundreds and hundreds of people because they would take them to this Gemini Lounge where their headquarters was, and they would chop the bodies up, drain the blood. They had a whole system of butchering the bodies and dismembering them, tying them in separate plastic bags, and then they had relatives who owned carting services, for trash, and they would take the bodies away and just bury them, and they would never be found. And then back then, it was like no body, no crime. So they would never get caught. But there was hundreds of murders.
Wow.
Yeah, the Gemini Lounge.
There's a movie about it.
Is there?
Doing a little light watching. It came out this year.
Oh, wow.
So if you're looking for something light,
easy to watch.
sounds. Got a few terms here I wanted to.
But they were like notorious killers.
Go to the mattresses. Probably heard that right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What is that?
That's if there's a war, they go hide, and they don't want to be at home, so they go with family. So they go and they have different places around the city that they're basically hiding, and they pull mattresses in there so they could sleep.
Like I keep referencing Sopranos, but the next to last episode is when the rival crew starts killing Tony's guys, and they go hide at some safe house.
Right. They're safe houses, basically, yeah. And they have to bring mattresses in there because guys all have to sleep.
Hopefully a Helix mattress.
Hopefully a Helix. If they want to get good sleep.
But did anybody kill other families, or did anybody cross I'm sure, were they?
Well, how did John Gotti get away with killing Paul Castellano?
Yeah, that was the whole thing. It's do you know the whole story about that?
Well, I think Paul Castellano was the boss.
Yes.
Some people weren't happy that he became the boss.
Right.
John Gotti didn't like him.
Yeah.
And then he got enough backing behind him to.
Well, the Gotti's crew was supposedly involved in heroin trafficking. Not him per se, but guys in his crew, his brother and another trusted friend, and that's that's a death sentence. So once it came out, once they got busted, and but there's wiretaps of Paul telling him, I want the tapes. I want the tape, because they had, the government had them, and in trial they have to disclose, they have to give the tapes over to the defense. So the defense had the tapes. So he goes, I want the tapes. I want to hear what's on the tapes. And they knew if they would have gave him the tapes, then it's over for them. They would have
family.
The Gotti crew would have gotten killed. They were in danger of getting killed. So they had to make the move at the time. To be like, us or him. If you're gonna, if we give up these tapes,
he was the boss.
He was the boss.
And John Gotti was the underboss,
a captain.
Yeah, and then
they didn't like him, but the underboss was his mentor. The underboss was a guy named Neil Delacroce, who was he was Gotti's mentor, and he was alive, and he was saying, because they wanted to kill Paul earlier, and he was like, no, you don't do that. That's against the rules. You never kill a sitting boss. But then he died of brain cancer in 1985, and as soon as he died, then that crew mobilized and killed him. That's why they killed him like Christmas in 1985.
And then Gotti became the boss.
Yeah. He became the boss, but it was against the commission.
Yeah.
You can't become a boss that way. You can't become a boss by killing the boss.
Yeah.
It's against the rules. So they did it, and they were like, we don't know what happened. They didn't admit to it. They just go, we don't know what happened. And then the guy who took the underboss position, like the guy in the bathrobe, he was from another family who was close to Castellano. He had the underboss killed. He was picking guys off in Gotti's crew. He's killing them. as revenge for Gotti killing Castellano. And he was eventually going to kill Gotti.
I was about to say, it seems like it's helping Gotti if he's killing the guys ahead of him.
No, he's killing the guys around. Gotti was already boss then. So he's killing the guys around him, slowly killing the guys around him. He killed like 4 or 5 guys around one of his closest confidants. And then he was going to kill Gotti, but he got arrested.
So Paul Castellano's underboss remained the underboss?
No, he got killed too. There's a whole big thing in front of Sparks Steakhouse in New York. Yeah. They pull up.
Yeah.
They go to get out of the car, and 5 gunmen with Russian hats on ambush them and shoot them.
Yeah. Me and Laura ate there.
Yeah, I've eaten there before.
Yeah, this is how we got. It was very expensive, and I remember we went where I forget. It was like, what's crazy? Like how much? It might have been a couple $100. It's like very expensive.
Very expensive.
And we took a picture of the bill because it was like we've never seen anything.
Yeah.
Like it was like, well, this doesn't seem real.
Right.
How is it this much money for this food? And it was just like 2 Southern people going to New York City. Like, can you believe?
Yeah. How was the food?
I mean, it was great.
It was
but
I
don't know. It's like, but it was just insane for it to be as much as it was.
Right.
It's the last thing Paul Castellano was doing, complaining about the bill.
Yeah.
Could this not get any worse?
Yeah.
He was going into the restaurant to eat. They wait for them to eat and then shoot them. But I mean, it did save him some money, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's
He
expensive.
might have liked a nice. Was that a place he always went to or something?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
But you learned, don't make a reservation.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, come up with a fake name at least.
Yeah.
Don't really have a fun way to get out of this. There's some funny nicknames: Junior Lollipops, Johnny Sausage, Quack Quack Rigario, because he walked like a duck.
What about Dick Tracy? How accurate was that to the whole mobster thing? You remember that movie? You remember that movie?
Never saw it.
I don't know. I never
Warren
saw it.
Beatty was in it.
Yeah.
Had all the mobsters. They had the fun names.
Johnny Sausages is funny.
Yeah.
Tommy Three Fingers.
Yeah. Quack
That's
Quack.
good.
I feel like
BB.
if they call you Quack Quack, you just know you're not getting to the top.
Yeah.
Like a Quack Quack doesn't make it to a boss.
No. Carmine the Snake.
How do you get to be a boss? Like, can you work your way? Or these guys are bosses forever.
Yeah, they're bosses forever until they die or something. Yeah.
And then so when you're get into the mafia, if you want to work your way to the top, I mean, you almost can't because you're like.
But wasn't there a guy who the other guys tried to kill him and then he survived and then he's like, I'm just going to retire if you don't kill me?
Oh, that's Frank Costello. He was controlling one of the families, He was at the and Genovations. Actually, the guy Vincent Gigante is the trigger man.
Okay.
Back in the 50s, he walked into a hotel lobby where the guy was coming out and shot him in the head, but he only grazed him, so he survived. And then they asked him to identify a shooter. He refused, and in court he couldn't. He said he didn't remember, and then he got off.
Then he just said retired.
Then he's like, I'm retired now.
Yeah, they let him go, right?
Yeah, they let him go. Let him retire. Yep.
Because he didn't say anything. But could he have said, well, I would have retired. I feel like there's a lot of that. Why don't you tell me we're probably going to kill you? And I'll go oh yeah, then I'll retire.
Yeah.
Just ask me.
That's
to
what I would
retire.
do.
Yeah.
That's what I would do too. It's like retirement is way better than you plotting to kill me.
In the movie The Irishman, it seems like who was Al Pacino's character? He was playing the
Jimmy Hoffa.
And they were being go ahead and retire. And he was like, we're going to kill you if you don't retire. And he wouldn't do it.
That's really a crazy thing because that's the truth. They were telling him to retire because Frank Fitzsimmons, his predecessor, Hoffa had dealings with the mob, but he kind of had a backbone and dealt with them, gave some stuff, took some stuff, whatever. But then when he went to prison, Frank Fitzsimmons, his predecessor, stood up and he was just a complete lackey. The mob just did whatever they wanted. So the mob was like, oh, this guy's better. Yeah. We're just going to keep this guy. And then Hoffa came out of prison and was like, yeah, I want my union back. And the mob was like, nah, we're good with this guy. Just retire. And he was like, no. And they were like, just retire. You have a nice family. Just retire. And he said, no, I'm taking my union back. And, all right. And they just made him disappear. One of the most famous guys in America, they just made him disappear. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy to be. He wasn't in Nashville? I think he was in Nashville.
In that movie.
The movie.
Was he on trial? I think he got arrested in Nashville. His trial.
His trial was here or he got arrested here. Jimmy Hoffa was in Nashville. when something happened. Maybe it was when he saw on the news that he was, or it was, he was in Nashville many times. He spoke to 1,000 Teamsters and their wives at War Memorial Auditorium. While in Music City in 1960, Hoffa blasted JFK, saying he has a police mentality. He's not fit to be president. All right. But he was somewhere.
I think I feel like the courtroom scene was supposed to be set in Nashville.
Yeah. I almost think it was.
I feel like he got arrested here for something and had to go to court.
Yeah. Yeah, there was something with him in Nashville. Faced Teamster Chief, a trial in Nashville that ended in a mistrial. So he had a trial in Nashville.
Wow.
Yeah. So, that's...
So we're getting in on the action a little bit here, too.
You guys are part
it's
of it.
It's not all in New York.
You guys were part of it.
Yeah.
Stuff happens here.
Do you think the Mafia killed JFK?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah, I think for sure. They were the guys in the grassy knoll. They set it up. Those guys were masters of deception back then. They were really, it was evil, but very smart the way they would do things. To make Jimmy Hoffa just disappear is incredible. So if they could do that, they can
he's like Elvis.
President. Yeah.
He's that famous.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah.
And Lee Harvey Oswald, what role do you think he played?
I think he was a patsy. I think he had anything
to do
to
anything.
I think maybe, I don't know, they had him there, but I don't think,
Yeah.
I think the real guys were very serious guys in the bushes who shot at him. And they were very intent on killing him. They hated him. Like they have wiretaps of them talking about, they hated Kennedy with a passion.
I read that Frank Sinatra was kind of a connection.
Yeah, with Chicago.
With the Teamsters.
Yeah.
And he lobbied them, I guess, to get votes for JFK.
Right.
And then JFK didn't do what they wanted.
Not only did he not do what they wanted, he appointed his brother attorney general, and his brother attacked them. And rightfully so. They were like, everything he was saying was correct. But they were like, we get you into office. That's the way they felt. We got you into office, and this is what you do to us. And you don't do that like back then to those kinds of guys, because those kinds of guys like will figure it out and take action.
Yeah, it's crazy if the Mafia, they got rid of Hoffa and JFK and no one still knows. But
those guys really, they're granted they were the system was woefully behind. There was no cameras, there was no legal wiretaps, it wasn't even a thing. There was no RICO statute, there was no witness protection, so nobody cooperated with the government. It was a death sentence.
And Frank Sinatra had to perform for them, right?
Yeah.
Because as almost like a punishment, because JFK didn't do what he told them they would do. He had to go perform for them, like free shows, just to stay on their good graces.
Kind of like your show.
Yeah.
Like your show that you did. I wonder if Frank Sinatra bombed for them.
I don't know.
They were going to kill Castro. The government was going to get the Mafia to kill Castro.
Talks with the Mafia to kill Castro. Yeah. Everything was just on the low back then. No one talked. Everybody just...
The good old days.
But there was none of this technology, and they didn't have the legal means in order to put these guys in jail.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Fun times.
It was fun. It was a great one.
Yeah, it was a great one.
It's a hot podcast.
All right. Yeah. Watch Mike Vechionne. Mike Vechionne, The Attractives. Watch that. It's coming out on Nateland YouTube channel where you're seeing this. Go subscribe to it. You can see other specials. The Mike's comes out this Friday, March 24th, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you go check that out. I'm on the road. Charleston, West Virginia coming up. Bridgestone, I believe, is sold out, which is wild.
Wow.
But we will also be in Johnson City the day before Bridgestone. And then a bunch of other stuff. I'm in Tallahassee, Florida this weekend, but just go to my website. A lot of touring. New hour. It's there. Nothing on the special. So
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I'm opening for Heatherland this weekend at the Mule House in Columbia, Tennessee. But April 2nd, I'm headlining stand-up live in Huntsville. So please come to that.
Nice.
All right. Tonight, I'll be at Zany's Nashville doing my own show there. It'll be great. And then on Saturday, I'll be in Petrosky, Michigan, or Bay Harbor, in case I'm pronouncing that wrong.
All right.
At Comic Mike V on all social media platforms. Please give me a follow if you haven't already, at Comic Mike V. The special out this Friday, March 24th, 5 p.m. Nateland on Nate's website. And
on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
Not on the website. I'm sorry, on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I will be in Madison, Wisconsin at Comedy on State this weekend, all weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And next weekend, I will be in Tampa at Side Splitters.
All right.
So Mike Vechionne, MikeVechionne.com for dates. Thank you.
2 great clubs back to back.
That's great ones.
Yeah. All right. As always, we love you. Thank you for listening, and see you next week. Bye. Nateland is produced by Nateland Productions and by me, Nate Bargatze, and my wife Laura on the Audio Boom platform. Recording and editing for the show is done by Genovations Media. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to catch us next week on the Nateland Podcast.